Okay. All right.
Or
Just
yeah,
gonna make up for lost time.
yeah.
I do need to make up for lost time by just chugging that whole glass of wine. Let me pour myself another one. Hello and what? Let me hold on. Sound effect. Hello and welcome to tonight's TokuTonic shift. I'm your host, Zio Agito, here about to get tipsy already. And it's only 9:07 p.m., you know. It's a pretty well enough time. Joining me once again, we got the Oxy 360. How are you, Ash?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing terrible, but that's beyond the point. All right. And Mark, how are you?
I started binge watching Don Brothers, so I'm not sure
Great.
what anything is in life anymore. I'm questioning a lot of things about myself. I made up to episode 27 today,
Oh,
and I
nice.
started yesterday.
Nice.
So you're getting prepped up for next week's TokuTonic.
I may stop watching Toku when I finish this season.
I think it'll
I am.
reach like peak, and the fact is, I think you'll need like enough shrooms and hallucinogenics to just come off the high
Dude,
of Don Bros.
I was like, man, like this is a show. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna save everything for next week.
All right, and then our weekly seat filler, Cloudy. How are you?
Pretty good. Just finished playing Alive again.
Oh man, I still got to finish that game. Like I'm on
You
the
and Mark
last
both.
portion. I'm at the very last portion of it. Also, I think like your VTuber model is like clipping because I don't know what that white thing is that's coming out of your chin when you're talking. Speak real fast.
Yeah, that.
What is that?
I don't know. It
Are your
doesn't-
teeth clipping through your chin?
No, I think it's because of the size of the model's head is different than the other ones. That this one the mouth movement comes down a bit more. I
hate it.
don't.
I hate it.
It is creepy. I mean, they'll have to deal with it.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to work on that for next time you're on. Like, I'm gonna need you to also get like a seat that you're seated on as
Oh.
well. Like,
Sure.
just
Floating.
end up diversifying all of that.
All right, fine. I'll make a background with shelves and stuff too.
Oh yeah. At least if you can like fake it or like go on MS Paint and try and design yourself some shelves and like put some stock PNG images.
Mark, stop
Then-
that. That's so creepy.
That's what your character looks like. You're welcome.
Thank
Well,
you.
next thing you know, Cloudy's gonna come in with like a hat. Because so
Wow.
what's this hat saga you got going on, Mark?
It's
Beautiful.
Well, I went through like the hoodie phase and the beanie phase. Now it's like amazing hat phase.
Okay, all right. You're gonna put a feather on it.
No, I'll put
You
it
gonna
like
dye
I'm
it?
gonna put
You
like
gonna
the
change
boost-
colors?
I'm gonna have, like the boost buckle come out of the side of it.
Oh,
I want you to come up with different personas, but they all just have different colored hats.
Dude, there are other color ones. I should get them.
beanie Mark, hoodie Mark.
Beanie Mark's kind of like
Just interact with each other via like green screen shenanigans, and we go through there with all that.
It'd be an excuse to set it up. Honestly, we've been saying that for how many months now? Like, I should just set it up. I should just. It's there, just not doing anything with it.
So since my PC crashed right before starting up, I gotta get a couple things like set up over here because I did have like a screen share ready and all that stuff that I've got to like try and get back up so we can talk about these Geats images that have been rolling around for like the last week or so. Now the thing is, it's just like something's off with these images, and I mean, most people can probably spot what looks a little artificially like created from these guys. But also, let me see if my camera is going to end up freezing. So let me just pose real fast and see if it's frozen or not.
It did.
Yes, it is. It is.
At least you hit the post.
Oh my
then.
god!
Oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Do the
I hit the
third
pose, so
one.
so we're good with that.
Okay. Good post.
So we got this.
Look at that. So
Laser boost.
We've got the Boost Mark II, some tentacle exhaust thing that looks very weirdly generated from these aspects, running into the laser raise riser gun to give us whatever the hell this is.
I don't like
I
it.
like that. I like it so much.
Mm.
Why do you like it, Mark? Because I don't like it.
So I think it's just the white and the blue. Like I like the helmet the most of it. I don't know if I like everything else, but I just like the helmet and I like the chest piece. Everything else about it, like the feet, like weird. I mean, no offense to anyone, it kind of seems kind of furry to me, but but the chest piece, helmet, I like.
But you should say that.
I mean, yeah, the feet definitely. Wow.
Ow.
Yeah.
Ash, what do you think
Gloves are
about
kinda
this?
weird too.
I don't know. I'm still iffy on it. Like, it looks cool in some aspects, but I'm gonna have to wait to see it moving because of the quality of these scans. Because like the Fox headpiece looks really freaking weird with the mouth plate, the orange mouth plate, right
Mhm.
there. Like, it looks like it's teeth or something. I don't know what that's meant to be. I don't get that. But then again, I do like how I'm curious to see how the laser shot's gonna come into play, but I don't know. It feels like it's got not too much going on for it, but it looks like it's got too many extra pieces with like the shoulder pads and like the chest plates and stuff like that.
Well, the main thing that stood out for me is just the fact that it looks like it's not using the base undersuit of entry form and is
Yeah.
completely different on its own, which means that we're probably moving away from a lot of the DGP's like centric aspects that we
Mm.
see from these suits, which would be a cool dynamic that they're actually breaking out of the game, so to speak, as we progress through the show, which is an interesting take if they are going to end up going that route, especially since if he is using Gene's own gun, or maybe he jacked it from someone else, who knows what's going to happen next week, then that means that he's got fourth wall breaking abilities, because these are literally the tools of the watchers, the audience members, who, as we
Yeah.
clearly saw in the last episode, are OP compared to the people that actually are in the game.
Mm.
So it's very interesting in terms of that aspect. However, I do have to note that, of course, when you look at some of these texts and stuff like that, so supposedly these were AI upscaled scans. That is what the current phrasing is when it comes to these. So because of that, you might see some artificial smoothing, some fill in the blanks areas, some artifacting with some of these images that just look completely like,
Weird.
yes.
Odd.
So
know.
especially when you
I like
start
that.
looking at like this here, because it's like, what the hell is even going on? That's the thing with AI upscaling. You got to have at least some higher quality resolution before you try and even take it to a higher quality, or else it's just going to fill in the blanks with whatever it could try and generate. And this looks abysmal from that aspect. But it does look like we're getting some return of some other Jamatos with this as well. And it would make sense given how the last episode ended, with the Jamato Garden essentially getting reset from nothing. But Cloudy, I didn't get your take on this. What are your thoughts on what we have here?
Not a fan of this particular version of the suit, mostly because it looks like they folded Kamen Riders in over over Geats basically. And I don't know what's with the openness of the mouth hole piece, but I'm not a big fan of it, because like that empty void of black just doesn't do it for me. And I do like how the helmet looks more cat-like, I guess, to sell the fox motif a bit more, but I think, oh, I guess we'll wait until you do the other slide.
Yeah, so this one here shows us a bit of Boost Mark II over on the side, which from the helmet design itself actually looks much better in terms of, the revolve on. Like, I like the menacing look. It actually looks like it'll kick your ass versus this Samurai Pizza Cat looking guy. Then yeah, so that's the main thing. So for me, the first time I saw this form, I was thinking Samurai Pizza Cats. And for like those of y'all that need the reference, your Samurai Pizza Cats. I got it ready.
I literally just forgot all about that until
I had it on the ready, because the first thing that I saw when I saw that image, I'm just like, Samurai Pizza Cats.
I
Samurai
pushed
Pizza
it
Cats.
down into a dark void in my brain.
Why, Mark?
Of
It's
my
not that
childhood.
bad.
I know it's not that bad, but it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's not bad, but does it need to exist?
Yes, just like those tomatoes.
What tomatoes?
The thing is, it's just like, so this is where I start thinking that this has to be completely like faked in some aspect, because we had gotten the silhouette of Boost Mark 2, and this still keeps the silhouette portion intact, and then just tries filling in the blank of what's going to be in there. Like, you notice that in this image?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where I start getting kind of iffy when it comes to these scans. Is really like, are they having the AI fill in the blank, or like, is this really an image that they took? So, like, there's a lot of questions when it comes to these scans, just from everything that we've seen so far, because a lot of things just raise some more questions than answers in terms of the quality of this. This is like the weirdest scans in my years of looking at Kamen Rider scans that I've ever been like, there's a lot off with these images.
I will have the official magazine in like 3 days,
Nice.
maybe 4 days.
Oh,
What's today? Yeah.
I honestly thought they were like AI generated because people kept saying they were AI scaled, and I thought, oh, did the AI make it? And then I was thinking, if we've got the AI that can make scans, and we're in for like an interesting year of Rider and Toku moving forward. If people can just make up scans with whatever they want.
true. If
I
it
mean,
looks
look,
real enough.
back in my day, all it took was, good MS Paint skills. Then you print it off on a sheet of paper. Then you take an off-angle shot with your crappy track phone. Then you re-upload that online and post it up on like 4chan, and bam, people take it as the gospel.
Yeah.
I used to spread fake leaks on 4chan back in the day, but yeah. So yeah, there's
I mean, the joints look like it's something that's actually real, because
They look like
this looks
Yeah.
like fingers. This looks like fingers that are on the ends of these, versus like,
I thought they were
actual
supposed to look
exhaust.
like fire or tails or something.
those are fingers.
Oh,
Yeah, those look like fingers.
okay.
The thing is, I guess if it is fingers, then are they like grasping this part here of the raise riser, and then when you actually do the throttle, then they come
Like
out?
go.
Yeah, kind of like how the zombie buckle works. That's what I'm thinking when I'm looking
They
at
fold
this. Is
in.
that
They fold
yeah.
in, and they're silver, and then when you turn it, they pop out. And
Which is it's an interesting concept, but this form sure ain't it though.
Also, the Bereba, the what is it, the card ID ticket thing. When I saw this for the first time, it looked very out of place. I almost confused it for like a red version that like Geats would get his own or something. But I guess it's just Bereba's for some reason.
Yeah. So that's what we got when it comes to this. It really is a little bit, like I said, to be desired when it comes to that aspect. But here's a better look at the AI generated Boost Mark II, a much better suit, in my opinion, from just the way that it looks. It's definitely a lot sleeker.
like that chest piece.
It works, like the fact that he's now got the two tails rocking in the back versus the one that he had with the scarf before. It's just like the motif is looking a lot better. And I like this immensely more than the previous one. And from the looks of it, it looks like it's only got the Boost Mark II buckle in the Desire driver. And that instantly gives them both the top and the bottom, which is something that we've only really seen with the Yamato buckle before. So let your speculations run wild on that one, on why this is the case that we get with this form versus none of the other ones. Because here, looking at the blank Boost buckle, well, Boost Mark II buckle, there's nothing on there. It's literally just a piece of
Kind of
plastic.
looks like ass. Not gonna lie, like that looks like trash. That looks like one of those like pot. Like if you turn it like vertical, it's like a little popsicle. Like it looks stupid.
I mean, it is supposed to open.
I'm not gonna buy it. Also, why is the Boost making a more Fox Life when Boost is supposed to be like a neutral, like buckle? Which is what bothers me, because like every ID core has like that buckle that resonates with them. So why would Boost do that? And what happens with Nan? Is she just gonna get one like poofy cat tail?
I mean, she might get more cat-like, considering it might be based off of the ID core.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm just like, that's the only thing that would explain it, because that would just wash away literally them saying each ID core has a buckle that like resonates with the ID core. And I'm like, I was like, okay, is like Caleb really gonna turn into like a raccoon? Like he's just gonna dig through the trash and just not doing it. Like
I mean, the bike does change with each individual rider that puts it in.
It's true. But do you know what's gonna happen? And I'm not gonna say the F word out loud.
Oh,
To certain communities, if we get full on like Neon uses it and she turns into like a cat, and K1 turns into a raccoon, and Buffa turns into a bull. Okay, that
we will get a lot of that community in.
There's
probably.
the fan art alone. I'm muting Kamen Rider Geats.
Oh,
I've already been down that rabbit hole of
Oh my God.
and fan art. Done.
Do not go on. Or if you do it in do it on your Only Henshin's page.
Only Blades, yeah. I listen
There
with a
you go.
VPN and Google Incognito. My ISP is like, what are you doing, sir?
Too much. Not enough. But yeah, Ash, what are your thoughts when it comes to this one?
I think it looks pretty cool. I like the tails and stuff like that. Like people in the chat are saying, is this going to be the berserker form that we usually get around this time? But I think it looks pretty cool. I do like the sleek orange and the eyes look really cool. But I usually say, I can't wait to see it in action when it's actually moving. So we'll probably see this in like 2 to 3 episodes, probably.
I mean, given that the buckle itself is just plain in its own, then yeah, I can kind of see this being the berserker form of the season, and then like Gene having to like give up his gun to be able to tame the beast and go into that more tamed form.
The chest plate, what's that chest plate looking in the middle? Is that meant to be something, or is that just something AI generated?
I don't know if that is particularly AI generated or not, because it looks a little bit too detailed to not be. Now, the thing is, it does look like the front of the Boost Striker itself. So maybe that's what it's trying to emulate, is the front portion of the Boost Striker onto him.
What if that opens up and he shoots a beam out of it? That'd be kind of cool.
A chest.
Looks like it opens. It looks
Chest
like it
of fire?
Yeah. Well, this is definitely like one of your favorite things in riders, like a rider fusing with their rider machine.
Especially when it's red.
Yeah.
Makes him much better. So what do you think, Cloudy?
Oh, I love this. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. My thoughts are out on whether or not it's a berserker, not berserk form, because I honestly don't know. Like, just because Geats is such a different series from the last couple we've gotten, I don't really understand why berserker form would be needed, but if it is, it is. But as far as like from the way this thing looks like it'll fight, I definitely like it a lot more than the other suit that we got.
Well, the thing is, it's like, if this is the berserker form for him, then how do you think Ace would get to that? You think we're finally going to reach Ace's cracking point?
I don't know. I really don't.
Is he finally going to lose his cool?
Why do those look like the freaking
like,
CJ
it would be
swords from the Power Ranger movie from '95? Like,
I know.
Looking at them.
This is so ass.
Just make them shiny.
I know.
And literally, it's like, you want to bookie with the bear? It's like, no.
So the thing is, it's like, before these scans were out, I had speculated that I would have hated if these other writers, the other supporters, ended up becoming CG writers, and it looks like that's exactly what we're getting.
Yep.
That's exactly what we're getting. And I'm just like, I don't want this. I hate this. I hate this so much.
No one wants this. No one.
I know.
What if they all like fuse into like forming like a Super Sentai mecha?
I mean, sure. I'm not gonna
like,
buy
what's
it.
the point of having that many mechas if they're not going to combine?
I mean, there was like 3 in Geats, and they never combined. Oh, sorry, not Geats. Zio.
I don't count that show as a show.
Listen, Mark, you
know
have
my
to
rules.
accept that people also
accept
have
shit.
Oh my god.
I don't know. Listen,
where was this talk when I was trash talking Blade?
Because I don't believe you.
Oh,
this is also where the AI upscaling looks kind of weird, because if you look at the actors' faces, it's like, ooh, what am I looking at? This
the
is
teeth on Beruba. God,
the eyes too.
What's getting? What what is
Is that
Kayla
even the
doing?
same dude?
He looks younger actually than when
Kayla looks
his
like
actor
he's
looks.
trying to give me that wink. Like, bro, come on.
He looks a lot younger with the AI.
You better get your soba, your Tanuki soba in check before you give me that wink.
Damn.
Yeah, Neon doesn't even look like Neon. She
That's
she
not
looks like an
Neon.
idol. She looks like an idol from like the 80s.
That's not Neon.
That's
I'm
not
pretty
Nan.
sure that's supposed to be Curran.
yeah.
Kyun?
Kyun.
If
Yeah,
that's
that's
about
Kyun.
oh my god. Did
Just
they,
like that's supposed to be
The AI just
Sakura.
screwed up Kyun. It just made
oh
it
my
look
god,
like-
did they just merge Kyun's
Yeah.
face with Neon?
That's what they did with all of them, actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
now you
did?
think about it, that looks like Keiwa and Kakura combined. Like they did the fusion dance, but their fingers
Oh
were
my
slightly
god, they put on the
now that you mention it, it's
Putaras.
true. Why
But I don't know what's going on with Baroba here. Like, what is up with this? Oh my god. But yeah, so obviously Baroba's formed. We have already known this. It looks horrendous to me. This didn't need to be a thing. But then looking at the rest of these, I'm like, why? Why is this even a thing?
The thing is that I know that people say that's a sphinx, but the thing is, it looks more like a lion's head than anything.
Yeah, it looks more like a griffin.
It's like a griffin. Yeah, griffin.
Yeah.
Well, a griffin would have a bird's head. Or eagle, I think, right?
No, that's a hippogriff. That's Harry Potter. Come on,
Are you
now.
sure?
Learn your yeah. Griffin.
I'm pretty
has
sure
a
griffins
freaking... No, they have the lion head with the wings.
They have bird heads. I'm pretty sure.
No, it's a hippogriff.
Look it up. Look it up.
Listen, as someone who likes fictional creatures,
Cloudy's kind of right. I'm looking at my griffin from Wizard, and I'm like, yeah, this thing has a bird's head on it. Like,
which one
Yeah.
has the?
None have. There's no mythical creature except for like a chimera that have like a lion head. And
since
that
I got
doesn't-
the monsters from Wizard back
Oh.
when Wizard was airing, so I was
Yeah.
like, yeah,
I need
you're
those.
right on that one.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend money.
Which is why I'm weirded about by it, because I don't know what animal that's supposed to be. Because it's lion, but it has a wing. It has wings, and that only is like the only thing that is missing is like a snake tail, and then that would be a chimera or something.
Yeah, then it would be a chimera.
But I guess maybe that's supposed to be like an actual human face to sell the Sphinx motif. I don't know if the upscaling is just ruining that. You know, the AI.
The upscaling definitely has ruined a lot of this. Oh, someone's saying Manticore.
Oh, a manticore. Yeah, you're right. Wait, manticores, do they have wings? Hold on, I'm looking this up.
Google
Yeah,
it.
what do you realistically put wings on anything?
That is true, but like manticores are weird because those fuckers are like most people never mention those.
And then Kikira is literally a giant CG frog. Shinobi lives once again.
Manticore got a lady face though. That's not a lady face.
So yeah, what are the general thoughts on pretty much these supporters being giant CG hot messes? Ash, I'll start with you.
I fucking hate them, but I'm glad I saw these through the scans before like the hype between like them henching like for the upcoming episode that we saw on the preview. So I guess we were disappointed early with what they might look like because I was expecting like a frog based rider or something like that, but I guess all these like supporters and sponsors are gonna have like weird CGI forms.
Yeah, this pretty much tells me that this is going to be like almost a 1 or 2 time deal for these guys. These are not going to be mainstays if they didn't bother making actual suits for them. So yeah, Mark, what's your opinion piece on these?
I hate everything about it. Everything. There's like no redeeming qualities other than Baroba destroying the little farm, like the little greenhouse, because that was a cool scene to see. Other than that, I don't like this at all. But I think it's just going to be during this next episode that's coming up, the DGP special episode.
Yeah.
Because there's no way they're going to do this for maybe 1 or 2 episodes, and maybe they have to like go on their mecha forums to get like a new boost or a new buckle to give to their participant. I don't think this is going to be 3 episodes max. These appear in, not counting clip shows or flashbacks.
I hope you're right.
I'm hoping it's just this weekend's episode because honestly, that is atrocious.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's really just if I don't think they have toys made for these guys yet, and if they come out, it'll be like way later.
Oh my god! Soto boxes it's going to take to make each one of those. It's going to be like 4 boxes each.
Jesus,
it's going to be a waste of a whole entire wave. But I'm a completionist, so I'm going to buy them.
He's gonna hate him while he builds them too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because I
I-
think that there was probably no proper plan for these guys, like officially on the back end, and they were like, "Yeah, we're just gonna throw these together. Let's reuse some models from that we've had in stock."
My other thing is the other ones make sense, but what's with Kaketas? Like you got the Manticore looking thing for Neon, which makes sense because cat. You got the Minotaur thing for Beroba because bull, but Kaketa is just a frog. And
Because Kikero means ribbit in Japanese.
no, I get that. It's just a frog,
yeah,
but
yeah.
like
Oh, 'cause
based
it's
on
frog.
like it's
The
his
frog and the
father's
Tanuki,
yeah.
because
Yeah.
he's a ninja.
You should Google both
Oh
of
yeah,
those.
ninja
and see
frog, I guess.
What
Probably.
comes up.
Probably.
I mean,
don't know,
it,
it's just-
it kind of works just because they shoehorned in the entire thing for Keiwa, like wanting to be like a ninja when he was a kid, and then we
Yeah.
got our stealth like shinobi references here and there for all of this with
Yeah.
the whole ninja buckle, and then of course and then of course for everybody who's seen Naruto, it's like that he fucking
Jiraiya.
summons frogs and everything,
Yeah.
and with Jiraiya and all that shit. So it's like it's like. Yeah, some of us get some of the metaphors that they're going with for all of this. Great. So that means that their potential power-ups, if the actual Geats thing that we saw previously is any indication to any upgrades that we'll see for Tycoon and Nago in the future, means that they're going to have some sort of synergy with these CG hot messes.
I already called it. Ninja Mark II is going to turn Keiwa into Shinobi.
Probably. He's gonna turn from green to
Just
purple.
all green as opposed to purple.
And then Neon's going to turn into a drum set
Oh,
or
God.
DDR machine with arms and legs.
Oh,
I'd
no.
rather take the DDR machine, if anything.
Yeah.
Just bring it back. Bring back the DDR.
DGDDR.
So the thing is, we are now about to enter the second half of Geats. We have finished pretty much the first half of Geats. Like, given what we've had so far in terms of just the realm of the game, like, where do you think it hit? Where do you think it missed? What would be your letter grade for the first half of Geats in itself? And I'll start with Mark.
All right, episode 1 through 16, peak best Reiwa era has given us for Kamen Rider. Episode 17 through 22, a lot of confusion there, a lot of questions, no answers. Newest episode revealed a lot, but then made a lot of stuff just redundant, like the disaster and stuff like that, which this whole entire time was a waste of time. Plot points that were needed. I even said in my reviews, I'm like, either this is going to pay off or these are just plot points that are just going to be casted to the wayside. I'm hoping after this special episode, everything we get after that gets more to how the first 16 episodes were, because that was good. Like, we started off with a show where it's like we didn't need that overly long introduction. It felt like the show was already airing when we started it with episode 1. So from a grade standpoint, I'm still gonna give it a B plus. We're 23 episodes in, almost halfway point. I think at around this time, this is when Saber was a show and Revice was all right, and 01. I mean, now 01. AI take it over the world stuff. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it still. I haven't given up on it.
And real quick, I did put out a poll right now for everybody that's in the live chat. What letter grade do you give the first half of Geats while we're over here running through our thoughts? Ash, you're up next. What do you think about the first half?
I love the first half. Really freaking good. Really great. Like, I want to try and recommend the first half of Geats to people if they want to get into Toku and stuff like that. Because it's a really good genre, the whole video game aspect and stuff like that they hyped up at the start. After when the show came back in 2023, okay, some interesting lore building stuff, but I feel like they're fumbling this latest storyline. Like, they've got an idea of what they want to do, but I feel like they're struggling to figure out what they want to do. There might be behind the scenes stuff going on with as they plan stuff out. But I feel like the whole disaster storyline built up to be really dramatic, and then looks like it's not going to pay off in the end. It's just going to be pushed to the side, which is what it is. But I'd give it like
is, yeah.
like first half A plus, like first 16 episodes A. If you add on the other episodes we've had, I'd give it as a B as well from what we've seen so far.
Okay, yeah. Cloudy, what do you think?
I think that the first 16 episodes are pretty good. It got my attention. I was really excited to watch the shows from week to week. It was pretty good overall. After that, it started getting a little too into itself, I guess, and very complicated and convoluted. And we got new questions more than we got answers. And by the time we got answers for those questions, they became very irrelevant almost immediately after. So I'd have to give it a B. It's good. It's definitely good. It's just it's on its downswing, and I'm waiting for it to just come back right up.
I would say, like, I'm in agreement that the beginning portion that we got in 2022 before we got into the new year was really good in terms of like the setup, some of the world building that we had on there. I think where they started like fumbling the ball for me is like you get rid of Ace and then you bring him right back the next episode. And that for me was like the beginning of like, what are you doing? This is like the massive opportunity for us as an audience that's watching this to see the main character possibly even like go through some sort of proper arc of like self-discovery, understanding, or something. But it's just like, no, they're going to go to show that no, Ace thought of everything in terms of like how he was prepping for all of this. But then I'm just like, okay, so you gave me that setup there, but during this whole non-existent disaster, like frivolous plot line that we just had, he didn't guess who the disaster was right from the beginning. Like, you expect me to believe that Mr. Know-It-All didn't know it all on this one until like it was narrowed down to the point? Or are you trying to say that he was just playing the game? Like, what is going on, Takahashi, when it comes to like the aspects that you're trying to take this show? And that's where it starts like dropping the ball in some of these aspects. Is really everything that we had from this calendar year has been a little bit lackluster for me, and a little bit too like you're trying to really convolute your storyline. And I'm just like, you start putting in way too many plot threads in a show that is trying to take itself serious. Then for me as an audience member, I'm trying to hope that your answers also take everything that you threw at me seriously. It's different for like a show like Down Bros, where, you know, the bar was set to being bombastic from the beginning. This is a show that's on the other side of the spectrum where it's trying to take itself seriously. And it's like, you can't like pull it out of your ass for this show. Like, you can't, because you haven't established that kind of rule set on here. You're trying to make things a little bit more serious. So that's where it really is losing me in that aspect. So I would still put it in a B mark. Geats has been swimming in B's in terms of my rankings, and it's still in the sea of B's.
Yeah.
So going forward, what are some predictions, some theories? What do you hope they try and do, and where do you think this new like 3.5D world that they dropped the big nugget of information on is gonna go to? Ash, I'll start with you.
So I think they're definitely gonna move away from the game, and they're gonna sort of discover, like, I don't know how long they're gonna keep doing the games and stuff like that, because they come up with interesting ones, but I feel like now that we're at the halfway point, I feel like all the pieces are gonna come into play, and they're gonna focus on whoever this main antagonist is, if there is one. But I feel like they're sort of going to break away from reality and find out what's out there. Are we going to world build and see what's going on in that future timeline where the supporters and the sponsors are from? Learning that the sponsors and the supporters are from the future. Wait, Neon's father, is he a supporter or a sponsor?
He's a sponsor.
He's a sponsor.
Yeah, like, would that mean he's possibly from the future as well, or?
We don't know because Harura Wynn's grandfather was also a sponsor, but it was never confirmed that either of them were from the future.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm wondering if we're going to go to this future timeline and see what exactly is going on there. Like that could be towards the end game. But I'm hoping that it doesn't fumble too much because with like with last week's episode, the big bomb was dropped, and are they going to just hit the reset button and act like nothing happened, or are our heroes going to know that like the reset button is happening as they play now? Like, because they learn too much at the end of that episode.
Yeah, and one of the things that I started speculating on the more I started breaking things out. So just to quickly lay down some of my speculation that I had is that I do feel that the realm of the DGP itself does take place in some sort of simulator, some sort of computer generated like it literally is a game, and our characters are pretty much like NPCs living in that world, while the future people are literally just experiencing things through like something like a VR chat or something like that, which made me think more like early on in my speculations. I was like, why would you be a sponsor in the DGP and expect nothing in return? But then now that we know that the sponsors are technically people that exist within this world that is created by the DGP, what if what the sponsors get out of like betting on the right person is getting to be real? Like if they are a simulation, like they are AI generated, then what if their gift by backing the right player is to end up becoming a real sentient being in whatever future reality exists? Is where I'm starting to lean in terms of my thought process on how they might take this. So, yeah, Mark, what do you think?
I was gonna piggyback back off that. I got like once they said like, oh, the 2.5D or 3. And like all this other stuff, I was like, and then it was like the supporters of that. I've been like trying not to make any theories anymore because like it seems like every other episode, like we point out the 2-episode arcs, so to speak. Like I don't know what's going on anymore. But now I'm thinking of like a hybrid of like Running Man and like Sword Art Online. So it's like, yeah, like the contestants win and get their wish, but
or even Gantz.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Gantz.
a better example too.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I'm just like, what else is? I'm like, but then we could be reading way too much into this. It could be something very convoluted and shallow. Because the main thing is too, like where they point out like Greek mythology and like the Sengoku time period being entertainment for them. That's what this time period is for them. So I'm like, well, everything in this world already happened then. That's why they're able to reset it over and over again. So I'm just like, but how? It can't be like, unless they're making some new way of time travel, like as a plot device. Because I was like,
well, the thing is, like the way that episode ended, it did imply that the DGP has and could possibly take place at any period in time. It's just what realm they kind of see fit. And for me, like my current theory is that Ace was someone that was born in the games, and he might have seen the different versions of the DGP in those other time periods, which is why he thinks that he's been alive for like over 2,000 years, is because he's literally seen these other worlds with his eyes, because he's been born in the game, which kind of leads into like this whole goddess of creation arc. And what I feel now is that Mitsume might possibly still be his mother, but conceived him within the realm of the DGP itself. And knowing that if the game fails, they'll erase everything that the current state of the game is. If Ace was born in the game reality, if they reset the game, he gets erased as well. So what if she broke in, made her wish that he would survive the reset? And because of that, every time that they've reset the games, he still remembers, because they have alluded to this before with the one failed DGP that he was not a part of, but he still knows about. So they've kind of laid some seeds, some foundations regarding all that. It's just, how are they going to pay it off? In my headcanon, that's what I'm thinking now might be the real possibility in terms of how they end up taking this for Ace as a character.
All right, I have a important question to ask. Who are we shipping with the goddess of creation then that created Geats? Is it Gene? Maybe Niram? Not sure. Shiram, like that. That guy's annoying. But I mean, someone has to be the dad.
I mean, it could be Kikera. I mean, he's a statue. He's a statue mouthpiece.
I mean,
what if we get like it's like
There's a
obvious
frog.
and it was the previous game master?
oh, Giori?
Yeah, imagine.
If
I mean-
Giordi was the real dad the whole time, then I've
Because-
got a Mori bit that's been waiting in the wings.
Oh no.
You guys remember Giori also did play his dad earlier in
Yep.
his first wish.
It could be a thing. It could be a thing. So, Claudia, having gathered your thoughts, what do you think in terms of like some of the speculation, some of the theories going into the second half of Geats?
To be honest, it's very complicated, and I really don't know how they would balance things out because, like, obviously there's your simulation theory, and that definitely could be a thing. I don't have any like personal theories myself because honestly, I just want to like see where things go from here. Ideally, I just want them to focus on Geats as a character and developing him more because honestly, the fact that he's like prepared so much or so perfect, it's kind of disturbing because he doesn't feel like an actual person, unlike who he's based off of, you know, like Tendo. Because Tendo felt like a real human. Geats doesn't really feel that way.
Yeah. Ace in general, like he seems like I'm trying to copy off your homework, but then it doesn't work. Oh, we got a super chat from Jam Cal saying it could be a reality warp pocket dimension copy of Earth's history powered by the goddess. That way, it doesn't alter the home time period. So yeah, it's like in some of the discussions that I've had, we've been like trying to attribute this a lot to Digimon's meta in terms of like Yggdrasil, Yggdrasil, however you want to call them, being the supercomputer that runs the digital world. And that the goddess of creation is literally the same type of figure. It is the supercomputer that runs the entire DGP in itself, and thus why it has the whole like warping of reality construct like built into it, because it literally
made that
is running it.
reference. Now it's going to be in my head now. Now I'm going to be thinking about that because I never.
I don't think I got that Digimon reference.
You never caught, man. Like we've been talking about this for like 2 weeks.
Wait, what season of Digimon is that?
So if you watch Digimon Saver's Data Squad when it was localized, that's the one that really like ties that whole thing into it. Because they brought in the whole Royal Knights aspects, and the Royal Knights like serve Yggdrasil. So yeah, there's a whole meta in Digimon that I'm not even gonna bother getting into it yet.
Data Squad.
I never watched that season. I just watched a lot of YouTube videos on it because I was wondering what these knights were when I was playing freaking Hacker's Memory and stuff like that. I was like,
Yeah,
what are these
Saver's
things?
is
And I was
so
like,
good.
oh.
I never watched the US adaptation. I was, a fan sub snob at the time. So
I've just never seen season 1. I've seen everything else except for the original.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I know.
can I
Everyone gives me shit for it.
I thought you were
Can
a
I
man
ban-
of culture.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
if you want
absolutely
to.
not.
Yeah.
Like that's
haven't-
disappointing.
I didn't even know the original thing was a season was a thing until recently.
It's like me with Beyblades, where I watched the original 3 seasons of Beyblades, and then
Don't
there's
you know
like
Digimon are the champions?
yeah.
What?
Oh
What
my
are
God.
champions? What are you talking about, Mark?
Oh my God. This can't be a thing. This can't be a thing.
I'm not actually
You know,
kidding. I've
You were
never
getting
seen
on
the
my
original
side
thing.
with the whole you enjoying Saber, but like
I've just never
You lost
seen
the
it.
brownie points.
I would watch it. I just haven't seen it. I just never got around to it.
yeah, who this man thing.
God. Just ruining everything that is right with the world. God. Watch more Digimon. Okay.
I will.
But yeah, no, so that's the whole thing. It's like the goddess of creation might possibly just be the whole supercomputer running the DGP, and that's why it's so fucking broken in that aspect. But it kind of like raises the question, why would Betaba want access to a massively powerful supercomputer?
What if she doesn't
Like-
know?
It's true.
Because she is only a supporter.
Well, the thing is, it's like every time that we see the supporters, they are like either chilling in the room or they're not, like in their viewing space, which makes you think is like, are they literally doing like a Sword Art Online like VR chat type thing where they like are literally just sitting in their rooms. It's like, all right, time to go check out the BGP real fast. Pop in headset, pop into their rooms, and then just be like, well, I'm just gonna go explore around in this world real fast. Like that could be the whole reason why they are there sometimes and not there other times is literally because they've logged off, which is another thing that's a real possibility when it comes to like this world that they've built up.
Except for Gene, he seems creepy enough where he probably watches Ace sleep. Honestly, I don't think he logs out.
I think he pays for that
I'm just
after
saying.
dark. You know,
No, he treats Ace like he's like a viewer of the Truman Show. He's like, you know, that scene where you see like Truman sleep and the people are just like, John Malkovich, I think is the guy that's playing. Yeah, and he's just like stroking like the screen, going like, yeah, that's right. That's Gene. That's Gene watching Ace sleep.
Yeah, no, he's got
Gene's
like,
like,
muscle atrophy,
he even
not
sleeps
moving.
perfectly.
He just watches him all the time. You know it. I mean, Kemper's a statue, so I mean,
You think they got cameras in the bathroom?
Of course,
Gene
of course.
definitely put cameras in the bathroom.
Listen,
I believe it. I
He's
believe
probably
he paid
dropping
extra.
money. He's probably
He got that
like, what else
VIP
can I-
membership.
He's got his tablet out, like buying. He's like, all right, cameras in the bathroom. Only Aces though. Like,
Yeah.
You sure? It's like, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's
like-
it. That's all I care about.
He's like,
I
we have
model
the
my whole life.
Nago service, and it's like, I don't care about that.
No, Ace is the best. Ace is A. Like that's it.
He's
all
got
I
a
care
toilet.
about.
He's got a toilet cam and everything. Ugh.
Oh my god!
Yep.
Don't, Mark.
Probably
No,
fan
I didn't
fiction.
want to go
Probably
there.
already fan
We
fiction.
got the squatty cam on lock.
Alright,
Let's
no.
go. What them beans do to you today, Ace? I saw you eating some steak the other day.
Talk about Ace at a hole.
Oh my god!
So we have all that. So, all right, chat. Let me see. What are some of the off the wall like Geats theories that you guys have going to the poll that I posted up earlier? I'm gonna go ahead and end the poll and check things out. But Ace, well, the A rank clearly won on that one. It was literally completely skewed in the way that you thought it would be. Like Ace was 55%, followed by B at 36%, C at 4%, and F at 3%. I gotta know who voted F. Make yourself known. I gotta know who voted F and why.
My
Zio
homies.
fans probably not Zio.
Like
Zio.
I need to know. I need to know who put that F in there. And I just look, I'm a big fan of opposition. Like just let me know like why you put F, and you can give me your reasonings why.
They're like, I put F because not enough buff on the screen. I'm like, all right, you know what? Facts.
You're right. There does need to be more Michinaga every now and again.
Azuma is definitely becoming my actually I think he is my favorite character in the show right now.
Out of all the
literally
riders,
his
for
hero.
sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was gonna. No, I'm not gonna make that joke. No, I am gonna make that joke because I don't care anymore. I make everyone angry anyway, so who cares? It's probably a build fan, honestly.
Oh my god!
Just gonna out there.
I'm just
I
gonna
was thinking
say
a build fan that loves them some
Or
Geats.
Dime fan.
Build is like a
What's another
C
season I
tier
don't
show.
like?
I'm
What's
not
another
gonna lie.
season? I was gonna say X8, but I kind of like X8, but I don't like the specials after.
Actually,
You know, as a private X8 fan, honestly. But I could.
Zenion said I accidentally F when the poll started, but I meant to put B.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
right,
okay.
right.
I
okay.
believe you. Sure.
Because I called you out on being a build fan or a Gaim fan, huh? That's okay. But I can see how people would say like below a C because it's just like everyone who doesn't like Don Brothers. There's like I can see how from an opinion base, someone might not like Geats.
Do you think that because we have to talk about it like more often than most people, because most people just watch the show and they're done, that's why we may have like a slightly less than like A rating?
I mean, we do dissect this show. Like that's what we do. Is we look at all the nitty gritty, the ins and outs, where it works, where it doesn't work. I had some people in my last episode comments just saying like, I don't get how you can see that this has been done before. Well, I'm sorry. I've maybe consumed too much media, but like it's definitely something that I'm just like, it has been done before. So
Like even the creator of Gans has pointed out on Twitter that's saying, "Hey, this sounds very familiar. This looks familiar to what I made like 20 years ago."
Yeah, when it first dropped, he made the post going like, "Oh, did Toei even ask me for my permission to use my content?" And of course, he meant it in jest, but of course, you can see that
Yeah.
kernel of truth to that entire statement.
Don't forget the whole like Geats and Tycoon relationship. Like that was also done before and better.
Yep.
I mean, most there's nothing really 100% original anymore. Anyways, like I could go
True.
nitpick, be like, okay, 01. I've seen iRobot before. Anything where AI becomes self-aware, it starts like I've seen this before. Like there's not really anything original. So it's like it's not about being original. It's about being good.
It's about
not
making
being
me
like
not
a cheap
care.
knockoff.
The thing for me as a watcher is just like I've seen so much, or like I haven't seen so much isekai content, but I am aware that there's so much isekai content out there now. Like before, it was definitely completely niche. Because I mean, like back in the 90s, we had things like El Hazard would essentially be like an early isekai like type of anime, and also like Dot Hack was like one of the first very popular like, isekai universes. Yeah, Inuyasha would also qualify technically as an isekai by today's standards.
Absolutely fantastic.
But nowadays, it's just like ever since the era of Sword Art Online and Log Horizon, it's like everybody's been like chasing that same boat.
There's so many.
Almost everything from Geats is just checking those boxes for me of like this is completely isekai.
Even Konosuba got a lot of people into making the isekai market because they got into isekai comedy and then meta isekai jokes.
I like isekai that has harems in it.
No, like all
back
of them.
In my day, we called it Tenchi Muyo.
Oh my god, that's
oh
god, Tenchi Muyo was
Tenchi Muyo and my Love Hinas, which I still have all those mangas that I won't tell you how I acquired those, but those who know.
Yeah. Tenchi Muyo was some good shit back in the day, I'm not gonna lie.
It was.
I was gonna talk about the DVDs and I was like, I got those too.
And now Decade is the owner of that franchise.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the collective properties that he now owns as the CEO of that one.
Yeah, that company.
Yeah. Oh. So we have all of that. All right. So moving on to any last, before we start, any last things you want to add on to anything regarding Geats second half or anything like that? Open floor.
I hope it doesn't suck.
Okay.
I want to know what's happening with all the merch because I feel like we're like from a candy toy standpoint. I do a weekly video going over the announcements. I've gotten nothing. I'm actually current with the candy toys. This never happens. I'm confused. I'm saving money and it hurts me. Like,
imagine they're just like, Mark, we have to send you an email. We're canceling the Soto line.
Listen, that's okay. I'll just buy some SH Figure Arts and some CSMs. I'll offset it somewhere. Don't worry.
Just give me something.
Oh, that reminds me. I got my Juga driver in yesterday.
Oh, show nice. I want to see it.
Oh my god. Let's
do that. I'll continue to complain about the toys. But really, we haven't. Like, we're just now getting SH Figure Arts released for like Magnum Boost and base.
That good old Vegeta voice work up in here. Like, that's the
you got Chris
great thing about this guy. So it's nice. It's one of the better like base Revice drivers. The thing that threw me off was just the fact that it had a secret compartment for its third battery that completely like I didn't expect. I put in the 2 batteries in the back and I was like, why is this not working? Do I got it? Like, what's going on? Like, what is going on? Then only to find out that once you remove like these pipes here, there's another compartment here for 1 additional AAA battery. I was like, what? That's the first time I actually read the instructions just to figure out how a belt worked.
I can't wait. I'm not getting mine until like the 6th or the 7th because UPS and across the country.
Oh yeah. I think I got the US release. So wait, I thought you were talking about the Geats Figure Arts. Mine's coming. Magnum Boost one.
Yeah, it's just weird that we're just like I get SH Figure Arts are usually delayed more, but like from a standpoint of everything else being really like there's not when you really outside of like all the Legend Rider like little buckles, there's really not a lot of merch coming out for the show. Like I feel like Revice and Saber, I feel like every week something was coming out.
Oh, Revice especially. That was,
Yeah, Revice
Yeah.
Saber was like Blood Ride books, Caddy Toys, Caddy Toy SP, GP versions of the books. But I feel like Geats, it's just like nothing. Like there's bulk and in between those little the Hour Gig SH figure arts, but I'm just curious where shows stay, but we're halfway through it. I feel like we looked at the numbers before because we're gonna obviously keep an update every quarter on that, but it's like I feel like they're just nothing.
You're just angry. You look at your wallet, there's
angry.
money.
I'm just like, I just want my Vision driver.
Yeah.
Yep. I need that.
Next week the Laser, Razor, Riser, whatever that's called.
Laser Raise Buckle.
Yeah, it's coming out on that's coming out on the 4th, and
it's being shipped on the 4th, or
its release date is on the 4th, so I got on Amazon Japan, so it'll ship out like the 4th is like a Saturday, so it'll probably ship out on the 6th.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, that's the only thing I know that's coming out.
Oh,
well, for me, I finally got my pre-order in for the 5 CSM.
Let's go!
Like
Finally,
the second Amazon listed it, I was like, "All right,
nice.
I already got a Amazon credit card. Here you go. Get them wacky numbers."
I was gonna message you when it was, but I was like, I know you.
I was about to hit the road for work, and then someone on my Discord server was like, "It's up," and I was like, "Hold on, I gotta make a transaction real fast." How much is that gonna be? About $500.
Just about worth
it. Yeah. Just press that button. Let's go. It's on the credit card. I'll just pay it off little by little as I like press these buttons once this releases at the end of the year.
When is that one coming out? The US one, is that September?
According to Amazon, their listing for it says December 15th.
Good, because I have that pre-order, but I didn't look at the date. I was just like, let me pre-order. Like I didn't even look at the release date.
Zygote, I'm not gonna let you see that Amazon credit card for obvious reasons. All right, so moving on to the next topic is the current state of affair when it comes to video games, when it comes to the currently airing Toku. Now, the thing is, it's like for a good number of years, we've had like either a franchise like mainstay for these shows, or like some sort of annual outing, and that kind of stopped like in the later years of Heisei 2, because they had first of all, it's like we had our Super Famicom games for a while, like in the dead area, which normally just featured like Ichigo, Nigo, things like that. Nothing too outlandish. We started getting back into it with Heisei. Still, in my opinion, one of the greatest games ever made for Kamen Rider is Seigi no Keifu, that's on PlayStation 2, the Kamen Rider Agito game, where he crosses over with Ichigo, V3, and Black in a original Resident Evil style of game with fixed camera angles and all that good stuff. Nice time travel storyline in which they actually, like, at the end of it, do acknowledge him as a Kamen Rider. Great stuff. And then after a while, we got our annual installments of fighting games when it came to Kamen Riders. Like, I remember playing the one for Fies. I remember playing the one for Blade, for Kabuto. And then afterwards, we started getting into the whole Climax Heroes of it all, which became annualized with roster updates. And it was just your standard fighting game done by Aiding, who is more known for a lot of the PS2 outing of Naruto games that Bandai, pretty much, was Bandai Namco, but before then it was just Namco that produced a lot of the games. And then afterwards, we started getting into like the DS games, the Gamba Ride games, the Bat Ride Wars games, all of those. And then it kind of like died off. And they tried resurging it like a couple years back with Memory of Heroes. But the entire thing with that one is it was never meant to be a 0-1 game to begin with. And I don't think a lot of people like know that it was never supposed to include 0-1. It was a game that was meant to be a game for double, and they introduced O's just because they liked O's in there. And it was supposed to be a game for those that grew up with that franchise. AKA, it was a game that was meant to skew older. But because of Toei stipulations, they were like, nah, you got to include the current airing season along with it. And because of that, you have to cater towards the demographic that this current airing season goes in. Thus, why Memory of Heroes ended up feeling a little bit of a Frankenstein game. Like they had a vision. I appreciate the vision. The execution is what left a lot to be desired for me. But yeah, ever since then, that's kind of been it when it comes to Kamen Rider games. On the Sentai front, we've kind of had a mixed bag of games from years to years. Like we would have their attempts at kind of a semi sorta Muso game for some of their outings. We've had some attempts at racing games before. And even if we start getting into the Power Rangers aspects of it all, if I fired up my Super Nintendo Classic in the back and start playing like Power Rangers Zeo Racers or something like that on that, we've had a plethora of different Power Rangers games. The last one being, of course, Battle for the Grid that we had on that one. So in terms of that, like, what do you think the issue is when it comes to like the state of also backtrack? There's been other games that also exist. Like we recently for Ultraman, you did get the Kaiju Farm game, like the Monster Rancher game.
I was about to mention.
So good. Such a great
So
game.
so it's like, look, some of these companies are still keeping up with it, but if there's anything I learned from our audience, y'all don't give a fuck about some Ultraman. So that's why I'm not even mentioning it.
Shame.
But otherwise, I will say that Garo had a fantastic PS2 fighting game, and they included the stage that was them falling off the building. The iconic like moment in Garo was a whole stage in that game. It's great stuff. But yeah, the current state of affair when it comes to video games. Cloudy, I'll throw that one at you first.
I don't know why you would do that. Oh God. But let's see. So the current state of it is like I'm very disappointed that there's not a lot more out there as far as like Toku related games right now. And I know it's because they have to like license issues and they have to include the current season of whatever. But I feel like if they could really just let go on that, we could get a lot better games, a lot more games made, especially if they would work with their fan base, because there's a lot of people who want to use these IPs to make their own games. Plus, if they allowed them to like make whoever is making the game to make their own rider with their own set of powers or unique abilities and builds with or whatever, or Ultra for that matter, or their own Sentai team, that would be fantastic. Like Chroma Squad, for example, is like a really fun RPG game where you can just make your own Sentai team. You can make your own colors, mix and match them, choose whoever the leader is. It doesn't matter if they're red or not. And you get to name your own mecha and all that stuff. It's fantastic. It's a great little game. I think it's like $20 on Steam. It's really fun. But yeah, there's games like that. Those are really fun. But I don't feel like properly like licensed Toku games, we don't get much of those. And it's kind of annoying.
I don't count mobile games as real games. I'm sorry, I'm that kind of gamer. Yes.
Oh
Wow,
God.
wow.
I'm sorry.
Oh, my
I'm-
God.
Tell that to when I was a whale and somebody gotcha games. My bank account says otherwise.
Oh my God. I did forget to mention. Oh, sorry.
I'm not one of those people. I don't care about mobile games.
I was gonna say, I did forget to mention there are actually a slew of like monster fighting games made for like back in like the Wii era plus Wii U era for like old Nintendo consoles. Like I think it was like Giga Blast or Giga Smash or something like that.
No, Giga Bash.
Giga Bash. Right. Those are really fun. I had no idea that it was based on Ultraman at the time because I was playing them when I was fairly young, and they were. I don't know, they're just really fun set of games as well. I think you can do a lot with those as well because Ultraman leads to like a lot of wrestling kind of combat and stuff like that.
A lot of grappling and drop kicks. I've covered a lot of the Toku and Kaiju related games that have come out over the last 2 years. Sadly, everyone talks about them before they come out, early access on Steam or on this. Then they come out, everyone talks about it for a week, and then nothing. There is a Giga Bash that came out last year. Servers.
Oh, I know. I played it.
No one's playing. No one's playing. The servers are dead. They even did a whole thing where they added Godzilla and this and that. Still, like everyone, 2 days, 3 days, then it was done.
I know.
Yeah, it's upsetting.
It really sucks.
So yeah, Mark, what do you think when it comes to the current state of affair when it comes to like these games?
I've been going in a deep dive of collecting Toku games. My most recent acquisition was a sealed all Kamen Rider Revolution Super X8 box edition. So I have that factory sealed finally for the collection.
Nice.
And
Jeez.
well, honestly, I just wanted it because it came with the Ghost Cash App. Because Ghost is S tier. Anytime I could say that out loud, I will. The PS2 art was great though. That was like peak. One of the ones I did like, and I forget the name of it because it's in the my closet. I'm still trying to get a few last figures. They did one kind of like Skylanders for
They
Kamen
did,
Rider.
yeah, I remember
And
that.
I have that for the PS3 and the Wii. I have both versions of it, and I've been going around. It's not the best. It kind of plays like, just like Skylanders, kind of like the Gauntlet Legend style gameplay and this and that. And that's, was a lot of fun. I bet you it was really popular in Japan, but it's like by the time it came out, Toys to Life was on the decline. And I'm one of the few where I actually really, really enjoyed Memory of Heroes. I know a lot of people don't. For me, I was just happy to play a passable Kamen Rider video game. I have it on the PS4 and I have the both versions on the Switch, the one that came with like the premium sound version or whatever, because I didn't know that's all you paid the extra money for was music.
That's typically how they do things in Japan. As someone that's been buying Super Robot Wars games for years, they put in those premium like sound versions, and it's just like, you gotta make me pay like $30 to $40 more just so I can have the full lyrical songs. Okay,
I did it. I did it on Switch. I was like, sure, why not? Also, Super Robot Wars has the Ultraman Netflix anime characters added into it, as well as OG Ultraman characters. So that's a good place to start. Ultraman is always inspired or has inspired a lot of video games and has been included in so many video games that it's kind of funny. So many people don't care about Ultraman. But the games, I don't know. I wish like Geats, everyone's been saying Geats had like a game motif. And if Toei's conditions are current season has to be included, you could have started an engine ahead of time and then put some skids in there later on.
Yep,
true. Make a battle royale. We would have been happy.
Oh, I don't know about a battle royale. Listen,
battle royale that's like 4v4 because of course they wouldn't be like, no,
exactly.
But it's like one of those things where it's like, it's like when we're gonna get a game. Because how far in advance do they know? Like you said, 0-1 was just thrown in there. It's like how far in advance would these developers know?
The season,
what the new season is.
6 months. That's it. That's the whole thing when it comes to making these games. They have like 6 months ahead of airing time to know the concepts of what the show is going to end up being. And of course, that could still end up changing by the time the game releases. So they don't give these devs enough time for it, which is why like the Climax Heroes like style games kind of made sense because it was literally just throwing in a new fighter and then just making it work with it. They didn't even care about balancing issues or anything like that. They just threw it in there onto the route, and that's it. That's all you got. And that's how they made it work, which is why the whole Climax Heroes franchise for me, like it was cool initially, but then after a while, I'm just like, no, this is not working for me. Like you guys have not updated the system since the initial PS2 outing. Something was up when they went from PS2 to Wii without even touching the PS3. Because they were like, oh, yeah, we can literally just migrate the PS2 engine and just excuse it because it's on the Wii. It's like, well, yeah, there we go.
I will say, though, in terms of Power Ranger video games, the Dino Thunder and was it N64 game or PlayStation 2 game that came out? Or was it PS3? I don't remember. The Dino Thunder game where you're only as the Zords the whole time?
I think it's PS2. Yeah, because I remember the Lost Galaxy game being on like PS1.
All right, so it was GameCube. I had it on PlayStation. I didn't know which other, because I know it was on Nintendo also. That was peak. That was such a good game. Great game. Difficult, but fun. And it was Zords. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm like, it's almost to the point where it's like, if Toei doesn't loosen their grips on their rules to making a Kamen Rider game, they're going to shoot them. They're missing out on money.
They are.
So much. Even if there was no microtransactions, that just from the standpoint of people want a video game, just give us a video game.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, Ash, what are your 2 cents when it comes to the current state of affair when it comes to the games for for these franchises.
Well, like I'll have to speak on a Power Rangers point of view because that's like I've never played the imports. Like the earliest, like I'll backtrack and go on a bit of a tangent. Like the earliest my first exposure to Super Sentai was back in 2003 with the Gal Ranger PS1 game that I got from a family member, and I had no idea what it was. That's a story for another day. But I feel like even with Power Rangers and Rider and Sentai, like they need to make more video games that aren't mobile. Like there's a Power Rangers game coming out on mobile, and we've heard nothing about it. Because it's meant to be this turn-based RPG game. But I feel like they just need to sort of just put out a game, like even if it's yearly and it has balancing issues and stuff like that, have some kind of game out there to promote your product. I mean, apart from the toys, I guess they're worried about losing money on both sides if the game flops, but like, I don't know. It's hard to say with
Well,
the
the
video
thing
game.
is, when it comes to at least Japan, like their arcade culture is immensely night and day
big,
compared
massive.
to what we have. And that's
Yeah.
the entire thing is it's like they had like a full arcade system that they've been relying on since like decade era for Kamen Rider and even for Sentai for well over, I think it was like 11, 12 years before they're shutting it down now and they're moving on to a newer system. But it's like, okay, it's arcades, but you know, of course, Toei never wants to acknowledge that, you know, overseas fans exist. But hey, if you make games on actual platforms that we have our hands on, then
we'll import them and buy them.
Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. Especially since we know that 9 times out of 10 now they end up getting some sort of English localization either done through Singapore, Malaysia, or one of those other countries. It would make more sense. So also put in the investment on that as opposed to just updating the chipset on a pre-existing arcade game.
And
so,
those card collectors love those cards because I get them from the magazine and they look nice.
Fantastic.
Oh yeah,
so nice. Like I was like, I mean, this is revised, but it's not shiny. But I don't care about that. I have the Buffa Zombie Super like Fever or whatever one. I have that as a bookmark in my manga volume.
That's cool.
But the cards are cool looking, and I know a lot of people from a reseller standpoint that sell these cards. Like they'll get them all from Japan and resell them here in the States. They sell out like crazy. Everyone like, and I was even like, man, these cards are pretty freaking nice, and they're not just shiny. They're like they're raised print. They're high quality, but they're for the gamberizing machines and card ass and stuff like that. And I'm like, I made the joke in your Discord server and online. I was like, all right, how much to get that arcade machine in the States?
Well, with the Dragon Ball Super Superheroes card game, they brought like the Switch version of that over to the US without bringing the cards. And if they port that like card game over to like the Switch or the PS4 or something like that, they can localize it and sort of have more of a wider audience with it.
As you bring that up, it's funny. I think it was San Diego Comic-Con either 2018 or 2019. They or whenever around the time it was coming out, they brought that machine to San Diego Comic-Con. They had the physical machines there in English, and you could actually get the cards. So they were doing like a Frieza card, Goku, Vegeta, and one other one's in like you got to go play it in this and that, and you got one card out of the machine, and then you know a lot of people are like trading and selling them and this and that. And I was like, why is this here? Why isn't this in like Dave and Buster's or this and that?
We're like the number one market for like anything gacha / like loot box related. So like, a machine that dispenses cards, why not?
Makes sense. But real quick, we did just get a super chat. I guess this is like what's IDR? Is that like
it's different currency? Yeah, it's rupees.
Ruples. I think the big problem is budget Ultraman and have a kick-ass series in PS2 era and robot series still continue. Maybe Subaraya just have more faith. Like they definitely. I feel since they have way more control over their IP in general versus how corporate Toei is with all the different hands in the pot when it comes to Toei, then that's what makes it so much more easier for Subaraya to actually pump out their types of games and content as opposed to something like what we have on the Toei side of the spectrum, just because, like I said, there's so many hands in the pot because, of course, you've got Shueisha, you've got Bandai Namco, you've got so many like different properties that all just work under that larger umbrella that, like, I feel like their departments don't communicate with each other. Like, I don't like if they need to outsource in some aspects, like they really do, but they're scared to. They don't want to give that IP away.
Well, they tried that with the Lupat game on Switch, and it was fucking garbage.
Cool.
It was like shovelware.
I never even knew that there was a Lupat game until the other day when Mark was talking about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I didn't even know that there was a Lupat game."
That did
I
not
think
need to
it
be a
was
thing.
eShop only. I don't know if it got a physical release.
Like, I think the last Sentai game that I remember ever being properly announced was like the Gokaiger wannabe, like Muso game that was still ass in a sense.
What is it? City Shrouded in Shadow, I believe it was called. Disaster Report Engine, right? Came out on PS4. Disaster Report, the game where you run around, do little like earthquakes and shit are happening. But the whole entire time you're trying to get out of Japan. Well, kaijus are attacking. Evangelion EVA units show up to fight it. RX-78's there, Ultraman is there, and you're just trying to escape the city while all this stuff's happening. It's something. And the reason why I thought of it is because Mr. Hitman brought up that he's playing Yokai Watch Puni just for the Kamen Rider collab, and I'm like, well, for starters, you should always play Yokai Watch regardless. It's Yokai Watch.
It's good.
Come on now, it's peak. But there's so many like Toku adjacent shows where it's like, okay, you're telling me Ultraman's in this, it's Kaiju's, that's cool. Like there's all these other ones. Even and the collab is what got it. It's like I would just be like, I'd be okay if they Toei just like loosens up on the collar a bit and lets someone else be like, hey, can we have some Kamen Rider over here in our console game? We'll give you X amount. Could you imagine like how everyone always loses their minds when there's like Mortal Kombat comes out and they had like Freddy Krueger, Jason, or Terminator, or T-1000. Could you imagine if they're like, oh, give us Shin Kamen Rider?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Or Kamen Rider Black Sun in there as like a character. Like I know what would have happened for Mortal Kombat, but it's like let them do a collab.
I feel like even just making them. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Galaxy.
I was gonna say maybe if we tweet at the guy who like does Tekken, he'll put him in Tekken 8 like they did with Negan for Walking Dead.
Oh God.
Just get Harada involved. Just be like, bro, just do it. Just do it. The thing is, there's so many companies that like look like they want to do something in terms of like the Toku space, but then they like, you know, they get their feet wet in it, but then we never see any proper results. And like one of the biggest ones that I feel most people are aware of is back in the day they were known as Clover Studios, but then Capcom shut them down. They got reformed and are now known as Platinum Games. That of course started off with, you know, the Beautiful Joe franchise.
Nice.
Beautiful Joe was definitely a good reference to the Henshin heroes that we had at the time. Kamiya in himself, like you can tell that this man loves himself some tokusatsu in some aspects, because they later on went on to make the wonderful 101, which is definitely very like Sentai heavy in itself in terms of those aspects. And they're now working on Project Giant. And even to like a lesser extent, one of the least well-known games done by a very well-known company. Like, I feel like most people don't know that even Nintendo back during the Wii era tried their hand at making their own Toku adjacent hero known as Captain Rainbow.
Oh my God. Jeez.
And he literally transformed and he crossed over with so many like forgotten Nintendo IPs and tried to like bring them good faith. But the thing is, there's a reason why this game was not localized, and it has something to do with Birdo and a certain vibrating object found under a pillow. I'll let your imagination run wild on what that is. But there definitely was some very adult-centric themes on that, which for a game made by Nintendo, obviously was not going to be.
I'm shocked, but anyone plays No More Heroes 1 and 2 on the Wii. You got a good arm workout. My friend was huge playing that game.
That game was fun. I would still
Yeah,
play it.
so it's just like there's so many different companies that like it's Japan in general. And most of these guys probably grew up on some sort of tokusatsu or something like that, and probably have some sort of affinity towards it to want to try and do the IP justice. But real quick, we did get another super chat. Yeah, because Bamco have more connections in terms of game departments, like their anime games, yet Tsuburaya still manages to produce something interesting. I don't know if
Monster
it cut you
Rancher.
off.
Monster Rancher, MR means Monster Rancher.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the chat after.
All right. No, so that's the thing. At least it's like Bandai Namco has so many studios, but for some reason they always go with like their very cheap, quick producing like
Mhm.
companies to try and like just output the content. And that's what we like just lead with subpar games in a way.
And they buy
So-
and they still sell. How many people are
Mhm.
playing like every One Piece game that comes out, or Naruto game that keeps coming out, or Demon Slayer, where it's the same engine, just reskinned, and it still sells. Like people still buy it, and it works. My thing is, it's less about like more connections. It's all about. I mean, obviously, Tsuburaya, they're like, hey, you want to make some with Ultraman? Please, thank you. People and like love us again. Whereas Toei's just like, oh, they want money. And that's what's shying a lot of people away, is because they go based on seasons, how much you want to spend from the characters. And let's face it, no, you're not going to sell all. I mean, there's someone who will just be like, hey, we want a game, we'll buy it regardless. But you're not going to sit there and buy all the low end characters that are the cheapest and make a game with them.
And I feel what helps out Tsuburaya is that it's not an annualized franchise, is that they do end up having those periods of like space between their shows, to the point that they could start laying the foundation of like, hey, let's try like getting the marketing machine ready for something that we're not going to bring out for like another set of months to potentially a year, and just start laying the foundation of, hey, can you make something like this? And then once we start getting further into production, then you can try and fill in the blanks with everything else that we get casted in there. Like that makes more sense. But then with something as annualized as what we get from Toei, we do run into that rut of it has to be something cheap, quickly produced, and once again with their guidelines, it has to include the current season. I feel that last bit is really what holds them back. Just being like, you have to include this current season. My thing is, if you're going to go with that aspect, release a game that doesn't include the current season, but then release the current season as DLC for it.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that way they have the time to develop those characters, throw them in there, and then people are like, yeah, it's like, this is a game that's great, but I wish it included, Geats in there. And it's just like, yeah, because the game's been in development for like 3 years, and that's why it only has up to here. But if you want like the first, we're going to throw you the Saber expansion, then the Revice expansion, then the Geats expansion, so you can keep adding on to it, then that would, potentially solve that issue. But I feel that there's just so... And that's the thing.
That's
it's like
kind
the
of what
Japanese,
they're doing with the Demon Slayer game.
These Japanese
Sorry,
companies are very traditional in terms of like how they got their rules, they've got their regulations, and they want to stick to that. And they don't want to devalue what's currently airing with something old. So, but that's just
point out
how it works.
in chat,
Yeah.
someone said Kamen Rider Shinobi Strikers. You laugh, but on the Famicom, there are so many actual sports and soccer games that actually had like SD Gundams with Kamen Rider, Ultraman, and other stuff, and like Godzilla.
SD Gundam Soccer was a real game.
Yeah. There's actually multiple ones for the Famicom, and they
There's like a
are
Mega Man soccer
good.
game.
They still make other SD Gundam games right now.
so. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I played the crap out of the new one. Also, the newest one is also on Game Pass, but. Yeah, no, they've actually done a soccer game. Like when you look at the history of Toku, Kamen Rider, like all those games, the only thing is Super Sentai never really got put into any of those. It was always SD Gundam, Ultraman, Kaijus, and Kamen Rider, and that's it. But they've been doing that since the Famicom, and obviously it doesn't happen as often now, given the new rules. But back then, I go to Book Off and they have a whole section with all those type of games, and I'm sitting like, which ones don't I have? And I'm like, there's like 8 different ones that came out, and you look at the years on them, and they all came out within like 2 or 3 years. Like they were just pumping them out like crazy.
All right, so moving on, and someone's cracking open a brewski over there.
Where? Oh my!
Let me
my.
get a vitamin water, fizzy water. I'm like, okay.
Oh, okay.
It's a loud fizzy one.
Feel that Stone Cold would crack them together. I'm like,
Yep.
okay.
That's going to be my final Meanwhile Sononi bit right there in preparation for Sunday. But yeah, so segueing into the next portion of the gaming discussions is what kind of game would you like? Like, what would be like your dream game? It doesn't even have to be for the current season, but you can, for extra points, make it something related to the current season. So, what would be your thing? And I'll just start things off just to do the icebreaker and give you all some like last minute like room to start thinking on what your concepts are. But I would actually want to do a dating sim. A dating.
Damn it, took mine.
Damn it, Dio! Stealing ideas.
You've heard of Dream Daddy now. Dream Henshin is a thing.
We just start going with like, because I figure it's like some people might take this seriously. Nah, let's be goofy as fuck with this. I want like a Don Brothers Social Links video game where it's literally like a dating sim, but it's literally just getting to know all of the characters in there and just choosing which one you want to, you know, journey with at the end of this all. Like after they're done, like they got their Kibi points and they're done with the entire thing. Who do you walk into the sunset with of these characters? Just like
into the sunset with.
Yes,
we already know
exactly.
who you're gonna pick. So it's like,
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like so many routes. You got so many routes on who you're gonna get with, and the thing is just like if one character finds out that you're getting too like in the know-how of the other character, like look. For those of you that know Don Bros, you know how these characters start feeling towards one another once they start getting like, oh, really? Like the jealousy really comes through. And I'm like, Don Brothers needs a game that's just wacky and goofy, just like that. And all of the character dialogues, everything's written by Inoue. There's like multiple split path endings in there. And the replayability is really there. You just go from like point A to point B and hit like 30,000 turns on the way there. Mixed in with some cutscenes, some dialogue lines. It'd be great. Be great. You're just like just living in that world. So that would be my dream game. Like that's how you get a peak Don Brothers games. It's not even about the fighting because Don Brothers not even about the fighting. It's literally about the social aspect. So a social links game with the characters of Don Bros, all of them. Hard mode would be unlocking Sonoshi Roku Go. Like,
oh my God.
like all of them at the end. Like that's hard mode at the end.
The last weapon is just a fire extinguisher. Just
so that's that. So Mark, what is your dream game?
all right, I guess I'll do. I have a Google Doc actually already open because I was going to do a video about this. Ash brought it up. Battle for the Grid, or of the Grid. I don't know what's called. Battle for the Grid. I'm gonna call it that. That game, a lot of fun. I like how they did the season, like the different seasons with like 3 or 4 characters added in. I think from a Toku standpoint, we could do how they did like Tekken cross Street Fighter. We could have like a Kamen Rider cross Super Sentai or just a Super Sentai one only. Well, I mean it's Battle for the Grid, but a Kamen Rider one, that 2D fighter with that animation style. You could even do an original story, have the cutscenes like that, someone narrating it. That would be great. Another one I thought of. I'm a big fan of. I like Double from the standpoint of it, like him being like a detective and this and that. I always thought of like almost like a spinoff, but not as dark and stuff like that, of like AI Somnium Files, or like almost like a what's that other one? Phoenix Wright, like that style, but you're playing in the world of Double, just solving stuff. No, you don't have to be no Kamen Rider really involved. It's just like you're just doing your detective stuff. And then obviously getting a upgrade to Memory Heroes. Don't have to worry about putting the next state, because I did like the idea of changing those forms like that, because that was actually really cool. Obviously it would have worked really well with older shows where there weren't as many forms, but from phase 2 into Reiwa, it would work. And then lastly, because I want it to be visually appealing, and someone already said it, but I'm going to say it's instead of Mortal Kombat, more like a Tekken style where you can do the sidestep, but like just really like almost like DOA. And then you could have Super Sentai in there, and then for Zio, they can make their own DOA beach volleyball version with Sononi on the cover.
Do I get like the various types of like lotions? Like this is a real question.
That's the
Lotions?
that's the collector's edition.
All right.
Oh no! If you play DOA beach volleyball,
That's a real thing.
Oh my god.
That's. I wasn't gonna say the quiet part out loud, but that's a real thing.
All right. Okay.
No, there's so many different types, and it's like there's I've seen countless people tweeting about video game ideas this and I'm like, that's great. Like the best thing is get something that's already has an engine, so you're not building from the ground up. So you can, if you'd have to follow Toei's rules, like Battle for the Grid, it goes along the lines of if a new season's coming out, okay, here's a new DLC, 3 new people, has like sneak in some older characters you want, but hey, there's the new season character. We're still following your rules.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna ask the community on Mark's idea. Should it be funded or sharded?
Oh my god.
And we'll see. We'll see how this goes. This is where we start getting into like the shark tankiness.
Oh yeah. It's like,
boy.
okay, I'm gonna do this. I'll give you 200.
Oh look, you got one person who'd already buy it.
Yeah, right now it's completely like at 100%.
It also gave me like 5 different ideas, so it's kind of like I kind of played the whole spread on there. It's like
If it
betting,
makes-
it's like betting $10 on every horse. in
Who
the
would be your
race.
developer?
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Now that's tough. Not N-Way. Sorry. I know I have a good relationship with some people that work there. I'm just saying, not N-Way, because NFTs. So I would say, from a fighting game standpoint, Capcom for sure. Like, yeah, we're gonna get the super version, then the ultra version, then the mega version, then the super ultra version. But Capcom has a track record, and they have Mega Man licensing, so it's like I can't go against Capcom. For a fighting game, I don't know about like all the others because it's like Phoenix Wright, that's still Capcom, but it's like there's no real like those aren't anyone can make. I don't want to say anyone can make those. There's a lot of publishers that make those style of games, and they're all really good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like whoever puts the care into it and actually wants to like do like true to the source material, let them have at it.
Because I wouldn't put Tekken Team on it because Tekken Team would never make it because like Tekken X a Street Fighter never came out, but we got Street Fighter X Tekken, and it's just like, man, I'm still like upset at that whole announcement and how that whole thing came about. That was dumb.
Yeah, I was shocked that never came out. I was like,
Arc Systems. Oh, they'd make such a good.
Oh yeah,
game.
with all their 2D. I mean, because they do.
Oh yeah.
All right, so ending the poll, it looks like you've been funded.
Let's go. What did I really did?
It's a 94 to 5%.
I will give everyone my PayPal information. You can send me the money. They won't go to games. They'll go
Now
to
the question is,
CSN,
who's the
but-
5%?
Who is the 5%?
Who's the 5%?
It's out of spite. It's out of spite.
It happens.
All right, Ash, what is your dream game?
Okay, so I was gonna go with like the generic like Arc System or Marvel vs. Capcom or something like that, but Sentai Toku, it's got a lot of good music in there. Why haven't they made like a rhythm game, sort of like your Kingdom Hearts Memories and Melodies or your Final Fantasy Theater Rhythms? Why haven't we got a game based on that? Like, because it'd be a game, you play it, you don't have to play a lot, doesn't have a deep story. Like, you want to hear your favorite tunes, you can play that. They can release DLC for other seasons that have music later down the line, so you can do it for that. So, like, maybe like they'll have select eras of different season musics, like from Heisei and Showa and stuff like that. And then for like other seasons, like King Oja comes out, like that can be DLC later down the line. So I feel like a Toku rhythm game would be really cool to see.
Now, the thing is, have you played the Taiko Drum Master games at all?
You could make a
Yes,
reference.
The thing is, it's just like those typically do end up having the theme songs for Kamen Rider and Sentai in there. Though the thing about it is, of course, since it's done with the Taiko beat, it doesn't fully like flow with the rhythm because, of course, you're gonna have that Taiko sound effect on there. But yeah, like I feel any type of music based thing, and no, like I feel this is a good introductory path for like a lot of newcomers because, like, for a lot of people that are new to these shows, you either get in one way or another. One way is Henshin video compilation. Another one is intro video compilation. Like, normally when you're in on this and you don't want to consume all the content right away, you just look at one or the other. And then it's just like, oh shit, I think I like this show and want to see what that's all about. So yeah, it could work for just like the theme song basis of it, of just trying to get people to like start asking those questions of, yeah, I want to check out what
the background music.
Yeah, some of the OST for some of these shows are definitely bangers in themselves, especially like Geats, where I prefer their entire OST over like their intro music in itself because it's just hits so good. So yeah, it could definitely end up being a thing, but who would be the publisher? Like, who are you thinking?
I know that Square puts out the Final Fantasy one, but who put out Rhythm Heaven?
That's Nintendo.
Look that up real quick.
Oh,
that's Nintendo. Oh, okay.
Yep.
That was first by Nintendo. Oh, okay. I guess Square, since they put out the Final Fantasy one.
The theater rhythm games?
Yeah. And they did a Kingdom Hearts one, which was really good too.
Yeah, that's Kingdom Hearts one. And they put out a new Final Fantasy one on Switch that came out. I think it's either out or it's coming out.
Oh, is that like the one where you're like,
yeah, and it's gonna have. Yeah, there's gonna be a new one. It's gonna have like Final Fantasy, Nier, and stuff like that. All those OSTs.
Huh. I'll check that out.
I know they made a Kingdom Hearts one too recently.
Yeah, I just played the Kingdom Hearts one. I think that came out like a little bit over a year ago. That was really good.
Yeah, like during COVID, I think it came out.
Yeah, it was like, but it was like a really generic title. It was.
I didn't care for Melody of Memories in itself.
That's what I was. I was like, that was kind of like a generic. I was like, that's kind of like.
But that's the thing. It's like I feel like if it was something that was made more like a Rhythm Heaven Fever type style, where you start getting like that goofy like actual mini game aspect of keeping up with the rhythm with what's going on screen with a lot of those different aspects, it could work a lot more for some of the other seasons than others, in a way. But if you're trying to take like the more like serious and just rhythm style approach, then yes, something like the theater rhythm style for what Square Enix produces would end up being better. So looking at your end poll results on here is that it should be funded at 86% funded, but you have 13%. So you have a lesser percentage rate than Mark. So Mark is completely edging you out when it comes to this. When it comes to these games. No,
his game was more creative than mine. Honestly, I was just like, skip this fighting game like Kamen Rider.
I think most people just care, like, I just want fighting game.
Yeah, that is true.
All right, Cloudy, give me them deets. What's that game?
I've got two ideas. One is more of like a generic thing that I feel like they should do, because if you say like you put a bunch of Kamen Riders in like a Muso kind of game, you could just add extra riders as the season progresses as like DLC. You can add their mooks in later on. Just go and do like a generic arena fighter. You get some level 1 supers, some level 3 supers in there, some form changes, you know, how it typically goes. I feel like that would be a good generic starting point for like just in general that they should do from now on. But my ideal or like my dream Kamen Rider game or like Toku game would just be an RPG where like, because in most RPGs you're starting out from the ground up to eventually fight a godly figure in the end anyway, and that's basically what every main writer eventually strives to do, because they start out with like stupid form and then they go on. I know the mouth movement is horrible. It's so bad. But and they go on to eventually like, you know, beat the god or whatever like Gaim and all that stuff, and usually they have a final climactic battle. I think it would be pretty good.
All right, and then that next game idea.
No, that is the next game idea. I said the first one was like the
RPG.
arena battle, and the second was the RPG. And if you're asking who would make it, I would trust Atlas to do it.
All right. So the reason why I laughed was because I actually wasn't paying attention, and I put up a poll just asking, "Is Cloudy a good seat filler?"
Oh,
I didn't even ask them to fund their shit.
no.
The entire thing.
Oh no.
In which case, Yes, Cloudy, you are indeed a good seat filler.
Oh, thank God! I thought I was gonna get roasted for a second there.
That's after we're not live.
Oh no! I thought I was about to get totally.
You got 83% to 16. So even then, you are still in third place versus everybody else's like
I'll take it.
rankings when
I'll
it
take
comes
it.
to things.
Really quick, someone said they wanted a Ultraman or Kamen Rider Fire Emblem like game, and I was like, yes.
That would be so fun. Which again would go great with the RPG.
The thing is, like, so back in the day, before outside of like the Super Robot Wars games, for those of you that are familiar with Super Robot Wars games, they're a turn-based strategy RPG game similar to Fire Emblem. They just do it with mechas for crossovers. Bam Presto was the company responsible for that franchise. And in the PS1 era, they did try their hand of doing this with tokusatsu. We had Superhero Sakusen actually come out during the time as well. So we had multiple different aspects when it came to it. It's something that I wish we got to see a little bit more of, but hey, like
it didn't do what they wanted.
No.
And it's like PS1 era was like when there's a lot of trial and error. Everyone was putting out new stuff to see how it worked, and it didn't. So it's like, no. Like, look at the games that did make it on PS1 that were big, that continued forward. Like Final Fantasy at the time, after post Super Nintendo, it's like, oh, then all of a sudden 7 drop.
Boom.
Like,
explosion of popularity.
And so we saw these other games coming out, and there was other not full turn-based style like Fire Emblem and this that, but we got more into the games like Final Fantasy Tactics picked up, and then things like Suikoden where it wasn't as, or Vandal Hearts even, which was a great game series, and it got 2 and that was it. And Vandal Hearts is amazing.
Is your cat hurting your mic?
Of course she is.
I'm sorry.
I was like trying to hold it and be like, okay, stabilizing.
No, I just assumed it was the cat because we were talking about this earlier. Me and Z were actually having an argument about this.
All right, so earlier, and by earlier I mean like a few hours ago, I went ahead and asked a question in terms of like what y'all as a community would have had in terms of any ideas when it came to any of the game ideas just going into games. So looking at it, and there's actually a lot of comments on here, and I gotta just find the post in itself because the way that this thing is set up, like I can only see like a handful of posts, not all of them.
There's 2 I'm really excited for to see if you can find them on there.
Yeah, because it says there's like 15 posts, but I can only see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That might be it. It's just some of these are very smaller ones. So the thing is, there are a couple of these that do seem very, very samey in terms of the aspect, and one of which is first off a Muso game that's pretty much designed after Kamen Rider. Now the thing is, full disclosure, we kind of already had this game because we had the Bat Ride War games already produced before. The biggest issue that I had with these games was the fact that, first of all, you could not beat up the mooks while you're on your Rider machine. Big disappointment. Like, I want to hit these mooks. But the thing that they did really well was that those riders all felt very unique. Like, they hit different. They felt different. They controlled different. That you actually felt like you were controlling the proper rider. It was a step in the right direction, but it was like 1 step forward, 2 steps back, because the map design was like the same 3 to 5 maps. That was it. And if you got to certain segmented portions, they literally would just close off a little portion of the map, and that's all that you got. And it's just like, it's not that great on there. So it's just like, yes, if we got a proper Muso game, first of all, the company that I would want doing it would not be what is it, Omega Force, who is the proper developer that does all the Muso games. Now the reason why I say that is because the Dynasty Warriors Gundam games are a thing, and one of the things that I disliked about the Dynasty Warriors Gundam games is that like they all felt very samey in a lot of their move set, and it was just like one did not really distinguish itself from another on there. Mark, it looks like you want to say something.
Once you said Dynasty Warrior Gundam, I was like, no, not go down that rabbit hole. Like the DLC for one of them was like all this, like unicorn, this, and it's like, but then it was all standard in like the next one, and it's like, and I can't even distinguish because there's 3 of them I think in total that came out.
Yeah, I
And
believe so.
I could not tell you which one had what for a story.
Now, the thing is, there was a company that did pretty good mecha crossover games back in the day. You might know them for a different style of game nowadays, but that was From Software. From Software,
Ooh.
in the in-between of doing their Armored Core franchise, and of course moving on to Demon Souls and Dark Souls, they made a mecha crossover game known as Another Century's Episode, Ace, which they had 4 installments. We don't talk about that last one, but those first 3, amazing, where you did have franchises such as Macross and Gundam and Getter Robo and Brain Powered and like so many different mecha franchises in there. And the great thing about it was they made all of the mecha feel unique, like you were playing as the ones from the show. They hit exactly like you would expect from those shows. So if I was going to do a Muso style game with that aspect of like trying to capture the proper feel of these individual writers, I would commission From Software to make a style game like that.
FromSoft also does very quality work. They're very dedicated. They'll take the time to make it something actually worth, your money.
So although I do like the idea, of a Dynasty Warrior style writer game, it really depends on who's developing it. Because if I just see Bandai Namco slapped on a label, I don't care. I instantly don't care. I'm hard out.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean that's it. It's just like I'm just hard out because I just believe it's one of their like C or D teams that's making it, and that's really it.
By the way, to the arena, what I was mentioning, like just arena battler in general earlier. The reason I said that is because if you may not know this, but there's a guy on YouTube. He does a lot of these like mods to DMCA 5, Devil May Cry 5, and he replaces their models with a lot of Rider models, and they do a lot of these like final fights.
I've seen that.
I think like
really good.
Yeah, and like getting a whole game like that would be great. The problem would be swapping out like the individual writers because you'd have to like obviously change some of the bosses to fit with the theme of the writer or something, stuff like that. But
there's also mods for Sifu.
Oh yeah,
Power Rangers and Kamen Rider. Someone did Decade, Black RX, and Skull, and that, and they would even change like the minions over too with the mods. There's some really good. That's why I was like, it kind of be like, oh, this would be a good Toku game when you see all these mods. There's so many mods, like Kamen Rider Super Sentai mods for almost every game.
It's really cool because you can actually see like a lot of people are passionate about it. They would want to see these like in the actual game. So I would love to see these games with maybe that style, like a Rider style or any real Sentai style, like or Toku style game with that.
So real quick, the Dynasty Warriors Kamen Rider idea was brought in by Mersey, who is in the chat currently. So I did put up the poll after giving my thoughts on it. My biggest selling point is if you want me to buy this, it really just depends on the developer that you end up getting behind this, because weak developer, then I don't care. Strong developer, I'm all about it. The thing is, there's some weaker developers that can pull off a very good game. It just depends on the style of game that we're talking about. So that's the entire can of worms when it comes to this. So looking at the rankings now in terms of fund it or shard it when it comes to Dynasty Warriors Kamen Rider. We currently are at a 77% for funding it. So
Congrats.
So the next one comes from Tokudon, Kaiju Carl himself, who I believe is starting to make the journey through being a Toku tuber. So shout out to Kaiju Carl. We got to have this guy on the panel one day. So his suggestion is, y'all aren't ready for an Arc System Works fighter like Dragon Ball Fighters, but Kamen Rider, aka Kamen Fighters. So, quick thoughts. What do you feel about an Arc System Works Kamen Fighters game?
100%.
Yeah,
I mean,
everyone wants the one.
Even if it's like
definitely.
grid, even if it's not like I said, not Enway, but like they do. Well, I think Arc does Blaze Blue, and obviously Fighters and one other one, and they somehow their style
Guilty
of
Gear.
fighting. Oh yeah, Guilty Gear, because that's the same engine as Blaze Blue. Their animation for like their super moves with like the 2D, like they're the best with 2D fighters.
Oh yeah,
for the generation. They're the color schemes they use. We use supers, even though it's like 2D. That's why they'll pan it so you could kind of zoom in, so it almost does like 2.5D, like looking at the characters when they use their supers.
the stylized finishers are just insane.
Oh, especially Dragon Ball. Like I'm ass at Dragon Ball Fighters. I'm ass at that game, but I'll play it and have fun just because of how good it looks.
Yeah.
I think the only stipulation regarding it is just the fact that I know that the way that they designed their character models is going to take a long time. So I think this is going to have to be one of those games that doesn't include the current Aaron Rider season, and probably not even like the previous year's one from the get-go, just because of the amount of time it takes to... Well, Arc System Works, they definitely are a company...
DLC.
Yeah,
they'll come out with DLC.
Fighter Pass.
But that's the entire thing. Is just like, of course, they want to focus on like the balancing issues and all that stuff when it comes to the game. So you want to make sure that you work all of that out. So for me, it's just like, yeah, launch this with like a base like roster of like, say like 3 Heisei writers, 3 Showa writers, 3 Heisei 2 writers, and then like 0-1, and like there, and then from there you start building on with like a larger roster and just expand from there.
Well, hear me out, Zero. Would it sway you more if they put Hikaru on the cover?
Absolutely not.
The main character from Revise.
No.
Because I feel like that, like, okay, Arc System does put their time into it. Do you realistically think if they got the engine done, they already started making it, if they got the 6-month notice, but everything else is done, they wouldn't be able to add that one character by launch to make it count?
They would definitely would. The only problem I would see is that because the way Arc System does their fighting styles, they don't really do form changes a lot. So as long as they have a good, that would also be a kind of an issue for the game, because the thing is, most of their animations are specifically set for like the base model and stuff, because that's why they have such good stylized models. It's rare that they actually do any like big changes to the character during a fight, and with that, like riders and power-ups and how that goes, a lot of people have to be comfortable with having a different form of the same rider being a completely different character and play.
I think what could make it work is essentially, like, thinking about it from like a Smash Brothers perspective, is the fact that like Greninja, back when it was added into the roster, like Sakurai had nothing to go by based off just the line art himself, and from that he created a moveset for Greninja. And then when Game Freak saw it, they were like, oh shit, yeah, now we got to make this guy move like this. So if like they had like the character sheets to begin with of like, this is the guy that we're currently working on, this show's not going to go on air for like another 3 more months, but we're still working on this. And they saw what they were cooking, and they were like, ooh, yes, we got to implement this into the show. Then it could end up positively influencing the show in terms of like fight choreography and things like that, because they'd see like what these developers are cooking up in terms of like moveset. So it could work. So if we start going with that mindset of like they give them like a 6 months advance notice, like they've already like made the majority of the game. They just need to know like who's that new writer that we got to throw in there for that year. And they're like, all right, here's line art. That's it. That's all you get is just line art.
Mhm.
And then they just make up a move set and they're like, oh yeah.
It's too good. They're like, we gotta rewrite the whole entire show. We're already.
Oh
Yep.
my god,
Production.
no. That's that's another thing I'm fearing about Geats, because the last couple seasons we did have like major rewrites towards the other half. So it's like I really hope Geats doesn't have a lot of major rewrites, because they already have a complicated story as is.
So yeah. That's my thought process when it comes into that. But otherwise, I would personally fund it.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, sure.
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
So, ending the poll on that, it looks like Kamen Fighters has a 86% funded to 13% sharded. Good going. Good going. Next up is from Mr. Bell. Among Us, but Disaster Grand Prix style. Hunger Games, but Ryuki. Pokemon Snap, but you're Kamen Rider Nigo or Kamen Rider
Unfunded. In fact, pay me for that.
What is even going on with this? I need whatever you're either smoking or you're drinking right now. Like,
You could be doing
oh,
both.
Tokudan Kaiju Carl has joined the chat just on here, so you have been funded in terms of your project, but now we're talking shit about somebody else.
Congrats.
So let me just put this here real fast. So real quick, like quick thoughts on this whole Disaster Among Us thing.
No.
Whoever.
Absolutely not.
No, 100% no. Just because, like, honestly, just like the show, it's throwaway. It's not even needed.
It's gonna be.
It's an arc. It's a gimmick.
If it was made, it'd be like a thing for 2 days and then immediately thrown out.
Honestly,
I'm expecting this poll to be like the complete opposite of what we've gotten before.
Yeah.
Like if y'all, oh my god, I was about to say
I'm thinking
like funding was winning for a while. I was scared for a second. I was like, whoa.
It was one vote in. It was like,
there's no way.
I was
no
also
way.
thinking the audience would just troll and just fund it anyway.
What if there's a rail shooter where you're Geats in Magnum form and you're just shooting Jamato, like Carnival or that Aerosmith game?
No. If they were to do something that's on rails, I need Masahiro Sakurai to make like a Kid Icarus Uprising style Geats game that's just on rails in that aspect. And yes, put it on the 3DS with the thumb controller and like the stand and everything. Yeah, absolutely. I'd play the fuck out of that.
Mhm.
Oh,
It'd be great on that aspect. But we've got our first sharded with this one, where oh my god, it was just
what's the percentage? I need to know.
it was 58% sharded, 41% funded.
That was
sorry.
Close. Y'all almost
sorry.
had Among Us on your hands.
It was close. Actually, that one got like some of the most amount of votes out of any of the previous. Actually, that one got the most almost the most.
Oh,
Mark's had the most amount of votes thus far, but this one has the second amount of votes. So let's see. The next one comes from PR and Kamen Rider 08, as we know him on Discord as Prand. Let's see how bad this goes.
Oh no, please. Please no.
An open world RPG game like Cyberpunk and Dragon Ball Xenoverse, where your custom character learns the skills from other riders or sentais, and you can either be a good or evil, and whatever actions you make will define what you do, and you can either be good or bad rider, redundant. You can go do missions from different riders or sentais, or you can get rewards from them. So pretty much it's Dragon Ball Xenoverse, but if it was Kamen Rider or Super Sentai in terms of the way that it's structured. And honestly, like I was a big fan of the play style of the Dragon Ball Xenoverse games, especially when it came to like a lot of the customizability and the way that they try to insert you into the storyline and things like that. I actually like that idea. So what do you think, Ash?
Uh, like it sounds like a cool concept. Like I will say that. Like learning, like creating a custom rider and having all these like different abilities. Because it'd be all right, but then would like the side missions sort of be like you're reliving certain seasons and stuff like that, or certain series. That'd be cool to see. And then the side missions can also be doing certain episodes here and there. That'd be cool to see. But yeah, I'd fund it.
Yeah, I would think it would be like if ZO was done the right way, where
Mm.
where you are actually playing moments of the season and just being a character on there. Like that would actually work out well. Mark, what do you think?
My only issue with this, obviously, is certain seasons I'd have to replay that honestly are mid.
Mhm.
But once I bump into Blade and he teaches me the ways, I'd be OP and I wouldn't need to like do anything else in the game.
Oh,
But no, I jokes that it is a good game.
Mhm.
It is like that. Like I like Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2. I do like how they handle
Mhm.
DLC with Xenoverse 2. My thing is
Still going.
learning these different styles
Yeah.
from different ones could, whereas Dragon Ball, obviously they're all got key and this and that. There's so many different styles in Kamen Rider for all the different riders that might be a bit too much. Like, how could you switch from
I think
like a
Kaiju Karo is
Hibiki-
speaking your language. He said make it Xenoverse, but only Blade.
only
knows.
Blade.
He knows. He knows the secrets of Blade. But like, there's just so many different styles. Like, you can't be like, oh, here's Hibiki, here's Stronger, here's Saber, then here's like Fies. Like, there's so many different like weapons they've used or styles. Like,
Mhm.
it could be a mess from an engine standpoint and a gameplay standpoint too.
Mhm.
That's my only issue. Because where's Dragon Ball Xenoverse, punching, kicking, key blast, super moves, flying around, it's all very like not cookie cutter, but there's everyone's similar from a base movement and attack standpoint.
Yeah, but the way that Xenoverse works is essentially you pick your race in the beginning because it's a very
Yeah.
creative character thing. So in my mindset, it's like you pick like what era
I was
of writer you want to be like tied
Yeah.
into, and then
Oh.
from there that picks like some of the move sets that are attributed to your character, whether or not they're going to be Showa-esque or Heisei Phase 1-esque or 2-esque or things like that.
Mhm.
And that's how it, or you can just end up going with like a race from that series. It's just like, all right, do you want to be like an undead turned human? Do you want to be a fangire? Do you want to be a worm? Do you like one of those different aspects that you end up getting? And I'm like, for that, I'm in. I'd be completely funded on that. Cloudy, your 2 cents.
Pretty mid.
Wow.
But no, in all seriousness, sorry, that's a joke for Brand. But,
I know it's a plan joke.
but I do think the idea is pretty good. I was gonna actually say that when Marco was saying that things would conflict, that there are restrictions in Xenoverse proper that depending on your race, that limits your moves that you can pick from, because obviously it wouldn't flow properly. Imagine if humans could go giant like Namekians and all that stuff. But
I tried.
but I do
I did
understand.
die like Yamcha once. That was a
True.
whole bit.
But he came back. But
Stronger.
as to like, oh please no, I don't want to see him in the game. But I think like having these like just abilities that you can call from different rider seasons would be pretty nice to see. Plus, you can make truly your own customizable like moveset. Like you could be like, you know, any rider, like you could just take from and then make your own like actual OC that you would have probably made. So from that point on alone, like the amount of people who just want to make their own OC and relive certain rider moments, I think that would be very popular and a lot of people would buy it.
And looking into it, Toku Xenoverse is completely funded at 94% with a 5% charted on that one. That is really good. One of the best ones so far.
Let's go, Pran. Congratulations.
All right, next one comes
He
from
did
John.
something not mid.
We got a Super Sentai RPG akin to the older Final Fantasy or Fire Emblems, but Fire Emblem's not really an RPG. Okay, I'm just going to say Final Fantasy then.
Okay.
That would involve the Time Rangers and a plot to save the history of the Super Sentai. It could involve the current Sentai also because of, well, time travel shenanigans. So pretty much, it's a Time Ranger RPG to
That's my
save
idea.
the Sentaiverse.
I will
How
fund
dare
this
you.
personally.
How dare you? He stole my idea. Unfund it immediately.
I'll be right back.
All right, so Cloudy, because of that, I guess you've got a say in this.
Obviously, yes. It's what I want. I'm huge into RPGs. Like that's my favorite like form of gaming, like in general. I like turn-based combat. I like games where you have to think. I'm not really great at like reactionary games, so I do play fighting games, but not competitively. So I really do like the fact that RPG like it screams out at me like this would be great. But the only problem I can see is like there's a lot of like limitations of like things when you do an RPG because like you have certain moves you have to choose from. You can't make something too good. There's like have to be like some kind of mana pool you'd have to draw from or something. Otherwise, people just spam the same attack over and over and over again. Because I definitely did that when I played certain games that let me abuse those systems. So I guess it would be just who would be making it would be kind of my thing to balance all that out. But I am definitely for it.
Ash, what do you think about a Time Ranger RPG?
I would definitely fund it. I love JRPGs and RPGs and Final Fantasy and stuff like that. That'd be really cool to see because when you get to a certain chapter and you find out saying, "Oh shit, it's this season," that'd be really cool to see.
True.
The entire thing is, do you think that this could possibly tie into Geats and the whole reason why Time Daddy is a sponsor is because he's dealt with time travelers before?
Yes.
And this game explains it.
Let's go.
That's it.
Time
That's the whole
Fire
thing.
is actually Time Fire in Geats for sure.
Yes, it's the same guy. Time Daddy
Even
just
the
out here
endgame
being
reveal.
Oh my god.
able to get it all. So,
And he'll get his own Time Ranger S Kamen Rider form.
all right, Mark. Now that you have joined us, what do you think about a Time Ranger RPG where they're
Listen.
going through time?
Listen, I haven't seen Time Ranger, but I've seen, it's Power Ranger
If you've
counterpart.
seen Time Force, it's the same thing actually.
Basically,
More or
Yeah.
less,
Yeah.
yeah.
and I'm all for it, 100%. You had me at Time Ranger. You had me at going through the time. Like I like timeline stuff if it's done right
That's
and like
true.
saving the timeline. Like I like that stuff, but it's done proper and it's not used as like a cop out for writing yourself into a corner. So I'd play it.
When has
I'd
that
personally
ever
give it to
happened
like
to Mark?
BioWare would be the dev I'd give it to.
100%. I miss good BioWare.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like you got to give it to like good BioWare.
Not
Like
EA, like
BioWare, not
Yeah.
Not
Sonic
current
game,
BioWare.
man.
BioWare.
no. I'm talking about like 15 years ago BioWare.
Not
Like
working on Dragon Age 4 BioWare. Oof.
yeah. So from the looks of it, it's funded 85% to 15% when it comes to the Time Ranger RPG. All right, next one comes from Jam Cow, where we need an open world Kamen Rider AAA in a hybrid style of PS4, PS5, Spider-Man, and the Yakuza series. This would likely be an original writer with lots of nods to past heroes in the form of gadgets, skills, and finishers. When it comes to forms, they would help expand the exploration and unique combat abilities on top of universal skills in the form of skill trees. I call him Kamen Rider Storm, a hero who channels energy his body generates or absorbs through his Storm Nexus belt to stop Paradigm Corp, a turning people into giganoids, beast mutants, cyborgs, and robots powered by dimension lens stones in their bid for world war and domination. Also, the best part of his suit is that it has Tron lines and proper neck scarf. So, Jamcow gave us a full like 3-course dinner with this. This is like
pitch and a half.
Yeah.
yeah, completely. Like we got story synopsis, we got original writer, we got all of that. So, Mark, what do you think on that feast right there?
So I love that because I'm a huge fan of the Yakuza games. Obviously, you can make it super meta if there's mini games. You could play a Ganbarizing game in the game, make it just ultra meta. I would say the minion, the evil minion like name, the Jiggernaut. I feel like that is too close to. There will be some like plays on that, and I feel like, and it's not just because of what month it is right now, but I just feel like in general we want to stay away from any words that have like two G's next to them.
I would say so.
But I do like the premise, like all that works, especially how you explain it with the skill trees. Very almost like a proper like anniversary season almost, but as a game, because now gadgets, everything like because some seasons of Kamen Rider, there's gadgets, there's weapons, this and that. And if one of the things I love about Yakuza, which another game Jade Empire did properly, was incorporating different fighting styles and how you could switch between them as stances. That could work. Honestly, there's no reason why this isn't 100%. This should be 100%, honestly, for a vote.
Plus, adding in like the Yakuza elements, like the social links, the bonds that you can form between every. Like, if Storm is his own singular writer in this game, then like all the support characters, like building those bonds and having something like akin to like Showa era or like Kuga, like when it came to like all the support characters, I think it would work immensely well if you have the right people doing it, aka Sega.
Yes.
Sega. Oh, okay.
Yep, you have Sega doing it. Ash, what do you think on this original game idea?
Like that was like a lot to take in, but it'd be cool. I'd play it.
And Cloudy,
I'm in for the Giganoids alone, but yeah, I'd
the
fund that.
Giganoids will now be like a proper thing.
Oh my god!
I feel like that's gonna be in our next video. There's gonna be
Oh god, no, oh no! You're gonna have to tiptoe your vocabulary very delicately there.
Yes, that's why I was like,
I just always think of like the one meme of like 10,000 gigawatts.
Oh, I was always thinking of Gigolo, but
oh, that too.
Yeah.
Deuce Bigelow?
Yeah.
That's
I love that
Not the-
movie.
not
That
the
was a great
sequel, though.
movie.
Not the sequel.
Oh, the original was great.
Yeah,
That was a
we're gonna talk about
mistake.
that
Did
one.
someone say steak?
What steak?
All right, so looking at JamCal's original idea for Kamen Rider Storm, we got a 94% funded. So far, everything has been good except for the one game.
Oh, we're not talking about it.
No, we're not talking.
No, we're not.
Gigawatt?
All right, so moving on to Gamer Kirby, a Kamen Rider board game. I'm already disinterested. Maybe
not
similar.
interested in that.
Maybe
I know who
similar-
this is, by the way.
Yes, I know who this is as well. Maybe similar to Monopoly, where you have to take a photo of you doing the henshin or action or the voice line, depending on the space you land on. You have to film it, and it has to rate it in order to move to a different space. So it could be like a more interactive version of like Mario Party Superstars in a sense. So we got ourselves a Kamen Rider like voice activated AI style board game. I think that the intricacies that are involved with all that don't sell it for me.
It's
And
too
for
many
that,
different
I'm out.
types.
Yeah,
It's
too
too
many
different
things.
types.
Yeah.
It's like Pictionary and gestures and Monopoly. You gotta
Puppet.
simplify it. Make it
No.
life. Make it life, but instead it's Kamen Rider, and you're going through all the paths of instead of your life, you're going through all the arcs of a Kamen Rider story and what you land on. Like, oh, say you're playing old school Kamen Rider. Oh, you bumped into a group of shocker minions and they destroyed your motorcycle. Now you got to move back 3 spaces. Or it's like, oh, you just pulled off a beautiful looking rider kick. Move ahead 5. Like
At that point in time, you might as well play D&D.
Yes, exactly.
Hey,
Monopoly
don't
friendship.
say anything about D&D. It's great. Go ahead. Sorry, Galaxy.
I was going to say Monopoly destroys friendships, and we kind of have that with Toku Twitter.
Oh,
I was saying, like,
Oh, now give me a board game based off Toku Twitter, then bet.
I'd play that.
just saying, I'm not trolling or anything. This can is pink because it chose to be.
I would say though, if we
I know
could
the color pink.
springboard off this idea, maybe doing a like Mario Party style Kamen Rider game, that could be kind of fun. I mean, obviously, you'd still run into like destroying friendships and whatnot, but you'd still have like the references and whatnot, and you just go around the board,
There
you
we
pick
go.
your avatar. Oh,
That's the one.
Marvel Snap, but with Kamen
Yes.
Rider.
No, give me a Dom Brothers style Monopoly game that would destroy friendships.
That
Dom
would be
Brothers
fun, though.
style. It
If
takes
we-
place in the future timeline.
That's
I
the
would be-
comment that just
that-
popped up that I
yeah.
was shaking my head at. The Marvel Snap is such a good game.
It
So
actually
easy
is.
to play, pick up and play.
It's very
There's-
basic and easy to learn.
It's so unironically like easy to like popcorn, like just play
Yeah.
games over and over.
It's a mobile game, right? Of course, I haven't
Yes.
played it. So.
Yeah,
Well, it's
okay,
on
I'm
PC
sorry,
as well.
I
It's
forgot.
on Steam. It's on
Mhm.
Steam if you want to
Oh,
check
it is
it
on
out.
Steam. Yeah, so
Yeah.
does it count?
Then I might check it out. I might.
There is a little bit of shilling that can be involved in that, but just a little bit.
I've only
We'll
bought the
see.
season pass for 2 seasons.
Oh my god.
Wow.
You
Or no, 3, because I started
Oh my
with
God.
the one before Miles Morales.
I wouldn't fund it, but I would say
I
in
would.
more of like a sense of like a maybe like a Mario Party kind of thing. I would like that. That would be kind of interesting.
So, looking at the Kamen Rider board game submitted to us by Gamer Kirby, it's a
It's just
60,
too much. And also,
61% charted and
Yeah.
38% funded.
Damn.
now, if they said the board game was going to be like the Gargoyles board game or the Animorphs board
Oh,
game,
boy.
all for it.
You know, Mighty
Oh,
Morphin
God.
Power Rangers actually had a very fun board game back in like
Yeah.
'94. I used to play with my older brother all the time.
Their newer one, the tabletop one that's been coming out, is good, but the expansions are so expensive.
Mm.
I mean, hey, listen, it's only been 2 rips so far, so I say we're on a pretty good track.
I don't know if we're voting on the Marvel Snap idea one, the Kamen Rider Snap.
If we
but
voted, it would
I
automatically be passed. I would
I
pass
would-
it regardless.
I would
Yeah, I
fund
would have
that.
passed it.
Now, just real quickly, Miku Love 39 did suggest pretty much like I said earlier, Kamen Rider Muso game. They would want to have Omega Force be the producer of a Super Sentai Muso game versus like the Kamen Rider one, because they don't want it to be a disaster like the Gokaiger Wii game. Or a 2D fighting game in the way of Kamen Rider Climax Heroes on PS2, PSP, and Wii. Of course, we could get the concepts into a Kamen Rider X Super Sentai crossover game, or how about a Super Sentai or Kamen Rider game in the style of Super Robot Wars? So yeah, we've already touched on a lot of these different aspects so far, but the entire thing about it really just comes into play of like the developer for it. Omega Force is not someone like, maybe it could work with a Super Sentai game versus a Kamen Rider game, because they do definitely move a little bit more samey from team to team in terms of that aspect. So it could work if you get Omega Force on there, but I'm not going to put a poll on this one because we kind of already gave our general thoughts when it comes to all of these different style of games.
And yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say Tokudon mentioned if we all remember the Skylar games. Yeah, we brought that up earlier because when we were talking about our history of it, because I have the PlayStation and Wii versions. And a few people keep mentioning they wish there was some sort of Kamen Rider or Toku PS5 game. Now the PS5s are easy, like a lot easier to get, but like more in stores. I'm hoping we get something.
Nah,
same here.
the play's cheap. It's going to be on the Wii. I mean, not the Wii, the Switch.
Yeah, I'm
Same
okay.
thing. Same thing.
They'll port it over.
Maybe
They'll
someone
upgrade
else will
it.
port it over. You know.
Yeah.
They'll get somebody else to do it.
Yeah.
Shade Legacy also pretty much asked for a Dynasty Warriors type game with Kamen Rider, but actually made by Koei Tecmo themselves. They could use Decade or Zio or Oma Zio as the reason why all the riders actually fight each other. Maybe add some fake or clone riders that would have massive waves of enemies normally faced in Warriors games, or a mixed batch of grunts from different rider seasons. So essentially, you are pitching me the Gamba Ride games, or the Bat Rise Wars games. That's it.
Yep.
Was Bat Ride War the last one that came out?
The Bat Ride Wars was their Muso style games, because I have their first outing of it like on PlayStation 3, and that's the last one that I bought on it. I was like, yeah, I'm done after this one, so we're good. So yeah, that aspect. So let's see. Yep, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying one of my favorite fights in like one of those games was there was a stage where O's use the Gata Kiriba to copy himself, and then each one of those clones used a different like full form of O's, and you had to fight each of them throughout the stage. That was actually really fun.
So Crazy Orb sent up one that he spent like 3-4 hours working on. Should I just skip it just for the sake of being?
No, God,
How
you can't do that to Orb.
Spent 3 hours developing this concept. Okay.
No,
All
don't
right.
do that to him.
It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna gloss over it, just like whatever. Okay.
Give us the cliff notes.
All right. So what we got here is Legend Hero, the Hero Within. They couldn't think of a better title. It's a game where you can make your own personal character in an alternate timeline or universe where you become a legend hero. So none of the characters from the show would be in it. For those of you that don't know, Legend Hero is a tokusatsu series that's done in Korea. We are currently watching it on Saturday nights over on Twitch, but it's been around for several years. If you watch it from the beginning, you're going to be like, oh, this is Geats before Geats, just in terms of a lot of that aspect, but it does rely heavily on the Chinese period of like show and like their three kingdoms. It's pretty much that entire like three kingdoms aspect that you had going on there. So outside of that, let's go. Starting the game, before you begin, you have to answer a few questions to see which hero piece you'll obtain first. When you get the hero piece, your opponent will not have the same one. So it's kind of similar to Pokemon in terms of that aspect, but in the same way, you're doing that questionnaire to like just throw you in to a hero piece, meaning that if you probably have like a game guide, you can probably fudge the numbers to try and give yourself a very powerful hero piece. Or if you try answering it sincerely, then you'll probably end up getting with the piece that would properly portray your character. So it's good in terms of that aspect. So next one, getting the hero pieces, the NPC rivals, and depending on which hero they're using, will either be a higher or lower chance of disqualifying them if you want their hero piece or let it die. So it really is just, I guess, a gotcha mechanic in terms of, or a random number generator when it comes to whether or not you win based on the hero piece that you have versus your opponent. That's what I'm gathering from that one. Game exclusive heroes. So they list a whole bunch of heroes that I'm not even going to try naming. Sorry, Crazy Orb, but just trying to move on a little bit. Mook's Phantom Heroes, every shadow of every hero. They will not drop any hero pieces. This is a custom enemy, such as like the Tau Troopers and Heavenly Generals. The platforms will be on Xbox, PlayStation, and Switch. Producer Gentaro Mitano, who made Memory of Heroes, Ultra Monster Kaiju Ranch Farm, and All-Star Battle R. The game engine is Unity. You lost me there. The Final Battle Mech Fight production is Kizuya Miruyama, who did Gundam Evolution. The main setting, you live in the city of Samjuyong. I can't pronounce that. That's Korean. A reference to Legend Heroes name. You can work in shops as a mini game to get money so you can buy clothes, food, and other accessories. The story, finding and protecting the 4 new Legend Heroes. The type of game, it's a 3D beat 'em up action game. Voice cameos. So you actually do get the voice cameos of Liu Bei, Sonshi, Gonun-san, Zhang Zhao, and Guan Yu from the series. Pre-order hero piece. Man, this guy's just out here.
You got all the marketing material?
A golden Guan Yu piece. Ideal for multiplayer. In heaven, you can see the other Legend Hero players, and y'all can PvP or fight some bosses. But depending on how many players, 8 is max, you're playing will make it harder. Gameplay similar to Memory of Heroes. Lost me there. That's all for the Toku Sharks. Hope y'all enjoy, and thank you for this opportunity to share my. They really went into it. They really,
yeah,
really went into
like completely committed to the bit. So, as the Sharks now, we gotta judge this. And from my aspect, I'm kind of out. I'm not sold on the gameplay style that you brought to my attention. And like looking at this, look, similar to Memory of Heroes, instant hard out. I can't commit to that. It's a 3D beat 'em up action game. I'm sorry, if this was more of like an action adventure style game, maybe. But like you're giving me a lot to work with on a franchise that I know is not going to move like numbers. So for that, I'm out. Mark.
Listen, I appreciate the commitment. You had me when you said metals. I was like, ooh, metals. But then everything after, I was like, like
Yeah.
like I said, I'm a defender of Memory Heroes, but I do see the issues where like that. Now, if you had just simplified it and been like, you ever play Yokai Watch? Now imagine if those medals you get are just different characters from Toku, and you just
Like-
said that and that was it. I would have been like, sold. That's all you got. That's all you need. And I do like games where you get to answer those questions and like it's, but at the same time, as you said, all you can do is Google online. You could see the questions and get what you want. So it's like that stuff is nice, but I feel like a lot of games that do that now, it's not really pertinent. It's a nice to see the add-on. I do appreciate the marketing of pre-order bonuses, this and that. Like that's good. Cameos, like you went in on this now. Fine tune it. I'm out, obviously. I'm just milking time right now on the shot clock. But if you want to pitch me a redo of this and make it more like Yokai Watch, I'd be 100% on board. Because I like Yokai Watch.
All right. Ash, what do you think? Are you in or are you out?
I'm out for now. I admire the commitment and like how much they planned it out and thought it out, but I feel like they pitched too heavy and some things seemed a little bit complicated and I kind of got lost in some of it. But I'm out for now. I think it sounds cool, but I think they just need one pitch. Like they could have said it's like Memory of Heroes. Like I appreciate they went all out for it, but I'm out. Like I'm an out for now.
All right, and Cloudy.
I kind of see what he was trying to go for. Like I understand, like, one, there's the gacha aspect, which is very addictive kind of gameplay for people because getting new shiny thing every now and again, that's that would get a lot of people hooked into constantly playing just to get the overpowered one that they want at the end. Whether or not like the gameplay itself is something I would play, probably not. But as to overall, I do like the passion behind it. I feel like maybe if this was simpler and more streamlined, it probably would be doing better. And I'm really trying not to be biased here because I am incredibly biased in this case. Because God, I love Orb. I love that guy. But I will say I'm on the fence. I'm out for now, but if you repitch this to me, it wouldn't take much to get me.
My advice to Orb, just pull a Inafune, go make yourself a Kickstarter, give us a demo, and I'll make sure not to release it.
Oh my god.
So
monster.
Mega Man Legends 3.
I was waiting.
Oh god. I thought he was gonna say Mighty Number 9.
No, that's a Legends 3 reference right there.
Yeah.
That is it. This is our first oddball 50-50.
Oh,
we actually have a 50 even 50-50 split. I don't even have a sound effect for this one.
Holy crap. Orb.
Wow, we are at a
Orb, don't cry.
50%, 50, and then just wow. Okay, all right, yeah, that's the thing. That's yeah, okay. So the next one comes from Phoebe, a visual novel style Toku game where the fights in the story get either in one-on-one fighting style gameplay or a beat 'em up style levels. Depending on the choices the player makes, in levels changes the outcome of the story. The focus is a level of variety and replayability with multiple endings to the story, where it can be very fun having both a strong visual novel aspect to it and the fun, chaotic feel of a beat 'em up in between. It will have multiple options, solely follow the visual novel aspect, and have the game, if the game gets beaten, have the options to play previous fighting or beat 'em up sections. This sounds like Senran Kagura. For Kamen Rider, you can easily follow the rule Toei has and include the current writer. And with Sentai, you can have multiple characters playable, like the SNES MMPR games. No, I'm out. I'm already out. Like you got two different styles of games going on here, and with the Senran Kagura games, it's like their gameplay loop was a little fun in one aspect, but they had like a specific gimmick to getting beat up that I won't get into on a live stream. But if you know, you know. And it's just like, how would they try and pay that off in like something that's like a Super Sentai Kamen Rider like style game? Would that work or not? So it's just like, no. Visuals, like, it's literally just you go through texts of dialogue and then you get to a battle portion of it, and then that influences the next text of dialogue. That I don't think I would get committed to at all. And I kind of got a little sober just reading that. So I'm gonna take a quick drink real fast as Ash, you go ahead and go.
Okay, so I like some visual novel games. Like I played Danganronpa, I played Doki Doki. But the thing with like games like Danganronpa and stuff like that, visual novel games can be tiring to play because of all the text screening. So unless this is all like voice acting with like the text dialogue, then that can pull me in. But the thing is, with visual novels, they're not for everyone. And do I have to sit through all the dialogue before getting to the fights, even though I can choose which ones I want to do? You'd have to replay several big lines of dialogue just to get a different like outcome or change it. And that can be like a bit of a pain. But it sounds cool. Like a Kamen Rider visual novel game would be cool, or something like that. That'd be awesome. But I'm on the fence. Like, sounds cool, but I'm on the fence. It's like two genres that seem weird that they're coming together, like visual novel and a fighting game.
All right, Mark.
You know what? I'm not out actually.
Oh,
As someone who has 170 hours in Digimon Survive, I do like a mashup of visual novel and some
I've
gameplay.
never played that. I need to play that.
It's so good.
Never played it yet.
I will
It's on my
say,
list.
as also a fan of those style of gameplay games, also the Neptunia crossover game they did, amazing, chef's kiss, so delicious, visually appealing, a lot of fan service. I'm all for it. But my thing is, what's the visual novel to gameplay style is what's keeping me in. The gameplay choice, though, is what's keeping me out of this. Because you're like, oh, it could be 1v1 or 3D beat 'em up. It's like, if it's visual novel, that change from visual novel to that style of gameplay is just so much. The thing about Digimon Survive that worked is it went over to a strategy RPG style. But going from that to a one-on-one fight, like that's what's keeping me from being like, yeah. And Bird of the End said Digimon Survive is mid. I will accept your 5,000 word essay on why you're wrong. So yeah, I'm gonna it's a yes for me, but I could easily be swayed to no if the gameplay stays the same.
All right, Cloudy. What's your input?
It's probably an easy yes for me, but only because okay, so I used to play these games called the Storm games, and not recently, but a couple years back, they made Storm 3. Storm 3 is a game where essentially the majority of it is like a novel playing out like the main story of the game, followed by like usually a fight scene afterwards and a break of like the character's dialogue in between. So I've seen that before, and I think that could work, especially considering Storm 3 is also like an arena fighter, like one-on-one. So personally, I think that could work depending on like if instead of like a group fight. It's just a 1v1 between one character that you happen to be talking to at the time. So from that aspect alone, like for what that could be, I'm in. I'm actually very intrigued at that.
Well, according to people in the chat, it is sharded. We got 62% of the vote at sharded versus 37% at funded. So I am so sorry, but that is
Ouch.
I understand
Yeah.
though. He made reference to a game that had a lot of good fan service, and you can't really do that with Kamen Rider suits. Like,
I mean, if you break them
can't.
off,
yeah, but that's not the regular. That fan service is not.
that's true.
So I'm reading a little bit of this one, and I'm already intrigued. But let's move on to the next one. This one is submitted by Overdrive. I want to see either a Gaim or a Revice dating sim, since they have a big cast of characters, so those two could work. If not a dating sim, then a Revice game where you make your own demon and rider, and you can choose different drivers to. No, you had me at dating sim.
Yeah.
Walk that back. The main villain can be either an actually good Gifusi and make it a decent, coherent story, and then I'm sold on it. Well, I mean, look, you should have just stuck with that first line and erased the rest of this, because at the end of it, you're kind of like walking back what you're already trying to sell us on. It's just like, yeah, I want something that rewrites Revice to actually have a good storyline. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, we have this conversation every other day of the week on Discord when it comes to like how we would fix Revice. But if we can just narrow that down to the dating sim aspect of either Gaim or Revice, then I'd be in. You threw in all that extra aspect, and I'm just like, ooh, I'm gonna have to pull out of this stock. I'm gonna do a pump and dump on this one. So no, and for that, I am out. Cloudy.
I will say for most like visual novel or dating sim kind of games, usually there's like another aspect to it that I would wish comes along with it to like make me interested. Like for certain people who like Hune Pop, there's like the bejeweled aspect to that while you play it as well. So the fact that there's not something else besides just a visual novel is kind of disappointing. But there's also the fact that a lot of those characters in Revice are related to each other, and I'm not sure if like they want me to play as Iki or some random nobody who starts in the game. Because if it's I have to play as Iki, then half the cast is already out.
If you're playing as Vice and you hook up with Vale, is that your dad?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, that's a pretty easy one.
Damn.
But overall, I'm actually not in on that one.
All right, Mark.
Nah, it's a no. I mean, honestly, but like if it was Revice, if Revice Legacy Veil was included with no, I'm not talking about Genta either. Mama Igarashi, bathhouse by herself, making that delicious curry with the dumplings. Maybe, but no, I don't know. Nah, I think I'm grown out of the dating sim game phase of my life.
If it was just Genta, I might be in.
As I have some. We all heard
All right.
that. Like you said that. You said that out loud. I was like, what?
All right, Ash.
Sorry,
what
my
do you?
internal monologue came out.
I'm gonna pass on it as well.
Damn. Tough looking out. Tough break. There's always FUBU. When it comes to this, dating sim, but not. We are stuck at a 53% sharded versus.
It's still close though.
It is actually
There's been
close
no
on that one.
Like,
People want that dating sim.
80% no, 20% yes. There's been like they've all been like in the fifth, like close.
All right, so next one comes from Zenyon Omega. Think of Memory of Heroes, but with more storylines focused on different writers from different series, kind of like an anthology series. And if you're able to collect various writers and forms via story mode, you can then use to fight them in PvP mode with various other players, and you can customize the PvP settings to include specific forms and or writers set in a time or winning goal. So essentially, it's a more fleshed out memory of heroes with online elements and your own OC. What do you think on that one? Because I'm gonna have to ponder on this one. Ash.
Yeah, like that could be a good sequel for Memory of Heroes, like having different series and stuff like that, and better gameplay. So that could work, and I would love to see like different writers show up in Memories of Heroes and sort of like getting their forms and reliving their series. That'd be cool as well. Online mode, not like I don't hate it. I just don't do many online games for like fighting games like that. So, but yeah, story mode sounds like fun.
Yeah, especially depending on how they end up working that into it. Cloudy, what do you think?
I don't know if it's because I'm tired of hearing Memory of Heroes for like the 30th thousandth time, but I think I'm out. One, because like it's just you're just trying to remake essentially a game that failed previously. So from that aspect, like if this was its own unique like thing, like own original project, that maybe I'd be more into it. But I just don't like the tie-in back to Memory of Heroes. Also because I don't really care for that kind of combat anyway. It's not really my thing.
Mark, what do you think?
I mean, to counter Cloudy, I don't think it's like a remake or rehab. I think they're building on it and improving on it, which we could all agree is a good thing. My thing is, whenever I play a game that has a single player element and an online multiplayer element, there's similarities to the combat. There has to be. You can't have a different engine. The Memory of Heroes style of combat would not work online, especially with changing forms of that. You get latency, lag, like it's over. So I'm going to say no just as a whole, but I would love to get a Memory of Heroes sequel or spirited sequel that like is fleshed out and done better and improved on.
I don't think Robot Netcode would even help that.
Well,
I just don't want to collect microchips.
Yeah, that's what
to
I'm saying.
lead me to the next step. Like that's really what killed
cut
Memory
that
of
stuff
Heroes
out
for
of
me.
it. Cut the like even the cutscenes like in the comment right in the live stream. Cutscene, walk 4 feet. Cutscene, walk around the corner. Cutscene, no, cut that out. Get more cutscenes and spread them out a bit. Get some dialogue along the way. But the microchips cut out all the extra stuff and take that foundation of the multiple forms and expand on it, expand on the story and everything else is fine. But I have to say no to this just because I'm thinking of it as a whole with the multiplayer, and I feel like that just would not work out with that Memory Hero style engine and gameplay.
Yeah, the gameplay in itself is what throws it off. If it was something that was relying a little bit more on, like, if I was to fix this pitch, I would think something more like the Gundam Breaker line, where you would be running into other Kamen Riders. Once you beat them up, you get like a component from them, whether it's like an arm piece or a chest piece or something from that armor style to customize your character and then take it onto a PvP mode with your own original like kit bashed rider, and even going like more like the Gundam Breaker line, make it something like your Shoto line, where it's literally like a kid playing with their Shoto riders and they're literally just picking up the pieces from something like that to make it work. But from your pitch idea, I'm not committed to it, so I'm gonna have to be out, but there's fundamentals there to be better. But
I just want to say I'll fund your idea with the you had me at Shoto, especially pre-order bonus with a physical Shoto figure, and I could add it to the collection on the shelf. You had me at Shoto.
Damn.
there you go. But sadly, that was not the idea that was submitted. So I think I'm just going to go fund my own idea. So looking at this Memory of PvP, it actually, from the community standpoint, was funded at 64%. Even though all of us were out, they voted to keep it in. So we got a few last second stragglers that came in here. So real quick, Graph. A photo book style game where I collect waifus, different photo books, for research purposes.
Of course.
I'm in.
That.
I'm in.
I'm in.
Funded.
Nice.
That's not even the wrong sound
Take my
effect.
money.
It's
Take my
completely
money.
the bit.
Here's my life savings. Take it.
There we
Just
go.
take my money.
Who doesn't
Photo
know?
book funded. We
was like,
are in there. We are
it-
in there.
You want to play a video game based on real life for you? Like,
Damn.
because, I mean, I'm in, honestly.
Of course.
All right, let me see. I think there was like another one thrown in here recently. Kamen Rider Soul style game, but your character is OC and you collect various weapons or from various seasons. So very similar to the pitch that I just said, but it's a Soul style game. What do you think
Yeah,
on
I
that
died a
one?
lot in
Real
those
quick.
games.
Oh,
I died too many
stop.
times in those games.
I'm
and I get
tired of
mad.
Souls games.
Yeah.
Just in
Yeah.
there.
Stop that.
Mr. Hitman, last one. Lego Kamen Rider game by Telltale Games, akin to Lego Marvel DC superheroes.
I'll take
100%.
it.
Also,
Yeah.
there are 5 Legos out there from Mega Constructs or Mega Blocks in Japan. So, I mean, it's not outside the realm that could happen one day, maybe, possibly.
So,
It
and
seems
I
like
never got
wacky and
into
goofy
Lego
enough
games.
that would
So
fit with like.
it would probably sell depending on the demographics, but I would probably not make it Kamen Rider, but just make it
No.
Super Sentai just because of the demographic.
Oh, yeah. It'll,
So
because obviously, if you make it Super Sentai and you could import it here, and people will be like, oh, Power Ranger fans would want to import it.
Like a Lego Don Bros game, imagine.
oh my god, that would just be like
Yeah.
you'll instantly get the wrong pieces in the box just
Exactly.
because it's just like now make it work.
Listen,
That's the
Sure.
Don Bros Lego game.
I know
Make it work.
I'm
Okay,
early into
it's
my
so
Don
good.
Bros binge watch. You know, I'm halfway
Mhm.
there, a little bit over halfway there. But I don't think you guys truly understand the last 24 hours for me.
They were life changing, right?
No, it's not just Don Bros. I saw Cocaine Bear also. So
Oh, yeah.
like,
Cocaine Bear plus Don Bros.
so like,
Hey,
literally,
Don Bros.
this has been like just the crazy, the crazy.
You must have had a trip for the past 24 hours.
It's been
Yeah.
like this is my break from like Don Bros right now. Is this? And then I'm gonna go right into that after.
Good.
All right. So I think this has been possibly the first of possibly many installments of Toku Shark Tank. And I think it actually went pretty well. Pretty well when it came to it. So this might become a reoccurring bit where we just try finding another type of subject, maybe outside the realms of games, where y'all might come up with concepts that go into Toku and whether or not it's a good idea or a bad idea. We might
Future
even look
Sentai.
into actually just thinking about it on the off chance. Maybe the next one that we do is like pitch me a good Toku toy that you think might actually save a certain franchise. Like
Ooh.
that could be the next one.
I could see
So
God.
I like it.
it could save Gaim. So the last subject of the night, and we'll see if we can speed run this or not, since we're already at like the 248 mark for a slow like news week where we're actually going
No,
longer.
we
than
talked about.
all
We were
things.
worried. We're like, man.
Yeah, I was like,
what are we
yeah,
gonna do?
I was like,
no,
we might not have enough to
Yeah.
talk about. It's just like, oh shit.
Now we're
But
good.
then we got this. So the next up is really when it comes to the realm of adaptations and bringing like Kamen Rider and stuff to the West. Now as Hasbro like starts skewing further and further away from the source material Super Sentai, us like trying to get Kamen Rider in the West, we're relegated to just these Blu-ray releases where you have to have that like high price of admission to get into it. And for Ultra, like first of all, Subadai is kind of doing it right, but at the same sense, like I haven't looked at the proper financials to see whether or not it's paying off like Western market versus Japan market to see if it's actually working out better for them. So there's those different aspects to it. Now the thing is just like we've had different properties try and get adapted to the West before and fail because I think part of the reason why is because they try recycling the entire Power Rangers formula. And the thing is, the Power Rangers formula doesn't work for every Toku. And that's the trope that we always fall
And they always
into.
try to tie it into it too, with like Masked Rider getting tied to it.
Mhm.
Like, you can't, once you bring it in and you tie it to that, there's going to be the comparison. Let's face it, Power Rangers at the time, 93 to 95, juggernaut.
And we always run into that scenario of anytime we try, like, as a fandom, anytime that we try introducing anyone to any other Toku show, the first comment that most people get is like, is that just Power Rangers?
Yeah.
Like that type of thing. So it's just like, there's been so many attempts, past and current and even like more recently than others even believe, that have gotten into trying to bring some of these franchises over to the West. I've mentioned, I think it was maybe on the first live stream, about Garo possibly getting brought over to the West way back in like the mid 2000s by the CW, because they got the rights to Garo. They were looking at a way to bring it over, but they never did. That's one attempt that did not succeed. Another one was, we got a trademark back during the Power Ranger Samurai era for Power Rider, which at the time was trademarked for the sake of possibly bringing Decade over during the run of Power Ranger Samurai for those crossover episodes of Shinkenger. But that never happened either. So we had all of those attempts and failures. And nowadays, Food PI is another example. They're bringing over Food PI in terms of like a proper physical release in the West. We got nothing for Double. You can't really go with Food PI without Double.
Yeah,
like you have that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have. I don't know about a dub, but I do know that it is getting officially released in the West.
Wait, what is?
Food
PI.
I thought it was in Crunchyroll, wasn't it? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like you get the official sub for it in terms of that aspect for it. But the thing is, just like
they were doing something else with it.
No. That's the entire thing. It's like it's available for Western audiences in terms of that aspect, but Double is not.
Yeah,
true. And unfortunately,
that's it was announced. I've been saying it the whole time. I'm like, you like. That's why I think Cloudy, you were there in the voice chat. I was like, I know Crunchyroll doesn't dabble in live action as much as they used to. They used to have J dramas and K dramas on there. It's like they have the money, they have Food PI. Why aren't they gonna pay, Toei to be like, hey, can we have Double?
Yeah,
and then put it on the streaming service. They still release physical media. Sony owns them. They like physical media. Put it on Blu-ray. Combo it with Food PI.
Sell some DVDs.
Yeah,
great.
Like that's the biggest blunder. And when everyone is like, oh, I would use Food PI to introduce all my non-Toku friends into Toku. And it's like, really? I would do the exact opposite. I would tell them to stay away.
Yep.
Because the thing is, you also have to watch Double. Like, there's no way you'd be able to get into it.
The recap was nice, but it doesn't do enough.
Oh. And then you also have to wonder, why the hell did Ryu marry Akiko? Like, why?
I mean, that was a whole thing within like actual Double itself, but whatever. So yeah. The big question that I pose to the panel is, what would be your preferred method to try and bring these franchises over to the West? Like, currently we have the Blu-ray releases for a lot of past seasons, but I don't think that's it. Like, the price of admission is too high. And because of the fact that you have to buy it like physical media, or it's also technically available for free per chance, depending on when you catch Tokushoutsu's either live streams, or if you've got something like Pluto TV or something like that, where they're playing it through their Tokushoutsu channel that they have on there. It's still like a hard thing to like get into in terms of that aspect. So would you prefer a proper channel getting the rights to either a sub or a dub of a specific season, or would you prefer a adaptation? And if you preferred an adaptation, how would you tackle on the adaptation for it?
I need to. I have
so that's the entire thing when it comes to like this dicey subject. Now the thing is, like, I feel if you're gonna do something very Power Ranger-ish, I always felt that Saber was the best candidate to be something to follow the tropes of Power Rangers and go along those lines, because it's got more of the check marks of a Super Sentai series than it ever did being a Kamen Rider seasons, just from face value alone and everything else like that. So for me, it would be like, yeah, this could be like a good segue point just to try and build off of this property, but I don't think it would be the proper way to go about this. And we have the English distribution of Amazon's and Black Sun, but once again, those are stuck on a streaming platform. And it's Amazon at that. Like, I understand a lot of people have Amazon Prime, but I don't think the numbers are there for Amazon Prime Video in the vice versa. So for that, I would say that's not a good platform to be able to do this on, especially when you're just dumping these seasons out like that. It's not going to gain the notoriety. Notoriety. So you got to come about it like the proper way. If you want to bring a Kamen Rider over to the West, then I would say if you adapt it, you got to be ready to spend the money on it, because when it comes to Rider, there is a lot of like more character interaction than anything, and not as much fights in suits as you would get with a Super Sentai. And if they try and cram like 2 or 3 episodes into one episode of an adaptation, they're going about it the wrong way, because they really got to think about this from a like older teen. But I think like that 18 to 34-year-old demographic is the demographic that they need to try and cater to in terms of like Western sensibilities for how they try and bring over something like a Rider show or a Garo or something like that over to the West. So you got to have the right team. You can't go with a team that's going to have Power Rangers on the brain when they try adapting these. And for the network, that's the tough part for me, because it's like I don't watch cable TV anymore. And for streaming services, I would say your best bet might be the route that HBO Max is going with, is like doing something like that, because it seems like they're trying to course correct over on that company. So if they got their hands on something like a Kamen Rider and tried bringing that over and put it as a premiere like weekly release on there, then it could work, especially for the type of demographic that they're going for and trying to take itself seriously, especially since they dumped all of their CW trash away now for free, essentially. But yeah,
except for Super and Lois, it's amazing, and it's still going.
Yeah. That's it. That's the only saving grace of the entire thing. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
So to piggyback really quick, Pluto TV, there's a trick. If you're on the phone app and the show they're streaming from Tokusatsu is something you like, hit add series to watch list, then go to your watch list and you can binge it from episode 1 to the end. There's a trick. You don't have to wait until it's live streaming on their thing. Yeah. I looked at with some Super Sentai stuff they had on there. I was like, oh, add series to watch list. And I was like, went to my watch list. I'm like, I wonder what's going to be on. I'm like, oh, they added the whole season to my watches list. Okay.
Oh, nice.
I'll just do that. I don't want adaptation, honestly, because I agree with Zio. We need the 18 to 35, 36 demographic. We have the internet. We're smart. We're going to know if it's adapted or not. And then guess what? We're going to go watch the original, which then in turn does not do anything for Toei or the other place or whoever's streaming it or has it on there. I think we're just subs. Put some proper subs on there. Put it on your streaming service. No one watches TV. It's not going to work. You put something that's not in ink. You put a subtitled show on basic TV. No one's going to watch it. Maybe a dub, but then again, we're not trying to go to the kid demographic. We're going for the 18 to 35, 36. We're going to spend money and make your return on investment and make it worth it. I'd rather have subs. I think Subraya, I mean, obviously we're doing Dodd Brothers next week, so we're not going to talk about it. I'll pull the numbers up and we could talk about it in 2 weeks. I'll pull up the Subraya's, like their financials on how much they're making, because they are making good money. And they are releasing so many seasons, and I would just rather, even Blu-ray from standpoint, I'll take a Blu-ray. They're always on sale. 01 and Kuga are always going on sale on Amazon. So it's not, I think 01 recently was like under 30. So.
And I do feel that anime has become so mainstream nowadays that people are used to watching things in Japanese with the subtitles that it could work. And just actually, and actually having the Japanese actors in the forefront would help differentiate it from Power Rangers in that sense, if they are watching something that's not Super Sentai. Because if they are watching Super Sentai, I know that their mind's instantly going to skew to Power Rangers. So it has to be a different franchise.
And from an adaptation standpoint, you'd miss out on so many, unless they're going all in, taking V cinemas and crossovers. There's a lot of stuff you can't do.
True.
And
Yep.
I'd rather just get the subs because then it's like you're gonna miss so much story. Let's not say they want to be like, oh, we're gonna adapt Revice. It's like cool, and they keep it as close as they can, but they don't touch Revice legacy. You're gonna have a whole plot hole with your dad, the whole dad, and it's like,
I mean, if it
Saber.
were up to me, I'd release a fucking Kamen Rider Revice Kai where I just cut out all the fluffy
Okay,
bits and just like,
yeah. And then Saber also, I mean, Saber honestly would be the smartest one to adapt because as
Power Rangers.
Saber, there's a lot of issues with the plots being abandoned, rewrites because of COVID and everything else, where an adaptation for it may make it more cohesive and straightforward story with no plot holes, and it would probably be better, honestly. But where it's that time frame where it's like adaptations, where that's why I'm like Hasbro going into Cosmic Fury, only using mech, the Zord fights, and then going into their old original thing. I'm like, good, because your fan base that has grown with this IP and this property, we're aware of your game now. We know, like, we're gonna go watch, you know, Time Ranger, Car Ranger, and Zoo Ranger compared to what you gave us, and we're like, hey, you know, you cut a lot of stuff out. It doesn't make much sense, or you drag this stuff on for so long. So it's like, or you're repeating the same footage over and over again for 20 episodes. So it's like you run the risk of shooting yourself in the foot with an adaptation using source material. Because if that's what you mean by adaptation, where they use source material, then you know, that's like,
get Western actors up in there, and we'll see how that goes.
You're gonna see the issues. I mean, also we could get some more hype on it if someone wants to just release Dragon Knight on Blu-ray.
Oh,
it's literally it was made. It's in English, like release it, maybe use that to gauge how much an actual Western produced adaptation would work in this era.
Yeah, makes sense.
I agree.
Ash, what do you think?
Yeah, like I'm done with adaptations for now, but we've got like the Shout Factory website, and you can watch most of the things they put out subbed, along with Ultraman. I think I don't know what seasons of Ultraman they've got up there, but they've got everything from Jetman to Hurricane up there, along with original Kamen Rider and 01 and Ryuki. But what we need is like a simulcast, like watching King Oja or like Geats on the same day as it comes out in Japan. I know like people know their workarounds, like by going to like sailing the high seas, but there's some people who don't know how to do that. They find that complicated. And if they have some kind of like streaming service, or even what Subarasa does for Ultraman, where they have a premiere on their YouTube channel. Wait, is Mark trying to say something?
No, he's talking to someone. He's talking to someone.
Okay. If they have that on there, so like how the Ultraman company has their streaming service, or not streaming service, they have it premiering on their YouTube channel, like the day it comes out or the day after. That'd be really cool with Don Brothers ending, or like King Oja. That'd be really cool as well. So we're all watching it at the same time, in real time as it happens, instead of waiting for like fan subs to come out. I love fan subs, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they need to drop like something like Sentai or a Kamen Rider on a streaming service, whether it's Netflix or Amazon and stuff like that, somewhere where people can find it. I know that on Amazon Japan, I think they've got older Sentais on there. You're just gonna find them or have a VPN.
Yeah.
So I think the market is there. That sub
really quick too. They have Kamen Rider on Amazon Prime in Japan too. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
All right, Cloudy, what do you think?
I definitely agree that some people don't want to take the risk as well with like sailing the seas to find their their Toku content, so that's also a big factor there. I think they really should just do what Ultra does and like put their premieres on YouTube and just put some of the earlier older seasons on YouTube and just throw some feelers out there, because the other big thing is like a lot of people are going to lean towards the newer stuff, but if you can get them in with some of the older content, it doesn't even have to be like early Heisei, maybe like some of early Heisei phase 2, like with double into like O's or something like that. You can get a lot of people hooked on the show, and they're gonna be like, oh, yo, what's this? I'll actively seek it out. And maybe I should buy some toys too. Maybe a couple Soto figures here and there. Maybe I want to buy a belt because I like these shows. Like, it doesn't hurt because they're not really doing much with these IPs at the moment anyway. So putting them on YouTube just for like people to watch and get a bigger audience and like a bigger following, it really can't hurt.
Like they did it for the 50th anniversary by having like the first 2 episodes up. So I'm sure they're going to gauge what people liked.
Ash had
Yeah,
the
and
best
the fact that they didn't follow it
Right.
up was really the issue. But yeah,
So I don't know how familiar you guys were with Decker when it was being put on YouTube. The premiere, they put one episode up, leave it up like 2 weeks, and then take it down.
Yeah.
2 million plus views on
Yep.
Ultraman on their US channel. Imagine, like Ash said, they do that with King Oger. Can you imagine how many views the first episode would have?
Probably
Like-
easily tripling it.
And because everyone always jokes, no one watched the Ultraman. Well, 2 million people watched the first episode, and there was no real fall off. At most, I think one of the least performing ones, because I followed it because I was curious, was like 1.6 million, and it was like a clip show.
Mhm.
So if Toei just tried that for one whole season of a Super Sentai, I guarantee you the numbers don't lie because they can monetize their channel. They would see the kind of money, and then they'd be like, okay, maybe this Kamen Rider and this Super Sentai, like let's put some more in the US.
I do feel that a lot of the issues when it comes to Super Sentai is just like the Hasbro stigma of it all.
I bet.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
True.
So from a Kamen Rider standpoint, say Geats is done. Say the first episode Geats was put out there, that get more than 2 billion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like what Ash was saying, like, is completely in the nail on the head. If they did a simulcast and we actually did get subs, official subs, like right when Superhero Time was actually airing in Japan, and they had like an actual live stream going up at the same time that it was airing in Japan, and we would all just watch it on like say YouTube or some streaming platform at the
Everyone
same
would be
time.
reacting to it.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be a way to actually fully unite the community in a way that we could all interact and not all be like one of those like, well, I gotta avoid Twitter until like the subs come out because those folks are gonna spoil everything for me.
It's just like it's Saturday. Let's watch it.
Yeah.
Also, from that standpoint, like it just work because like look how much, and Toei could do it. They have more money than Subaru. Okay, let's be realistic here. Like, we know how much money Toei has. They have money.
Yep.
Like, so and honestly, I don't think they would lose money getting those subs out and paying the money for it because they would make that back easily in ad revenue.
They have everything to gain and nothing really to lose from attempting it. I just don't think
what they have to lose
want
is their power over us.
True, but I feel like they get their hands deeper into my wallets if they tried.
Put their hands deep. Never mind.
Oh my god. Mark.
I mean, and the other way that we mentioned before was like Toei for the longest time was releasing like the first couple episodes of their Kamen Rider shows on their YouTube channel officially in England, like with the subs, where you could get like the first 2 or 3 episodes, but then that's it. And for 01, they missed out on the fact of actually advertising the official Blu-ray release right after you got done with the last set of episodes. They could have done the same thing with Ryuki for Shout Factory, and Kuga is like literally like, hey, right after this, go spend the money, like fund this, like there it is. Buy it right now if you like these first 2 episodes. Go in.
Well, before
Did
we
they
even
even
got the Blu-ray release, it was on their streaming website.
Yeah,
on Shout Factory's website.
Did they even
but that's also the issue.
Comics? I don't even know.
It is like right away is like, yeah, you could buy this or you can just watch it for free when we're streaming it. It's just like
that was the worst.
It's bad advertising in that aspect. Buy it or watch it for free because we're giving it to you for free.
That's actually a really good point that Merlisi brings up in chat. Like, he avoids Toku Twitter the day like the show drops, because do you have any idea how many people watch the Raw and then put out like their opinions about what happens in the show?
I do.
It would be so much easier if at the same time you had the dub going on. You wouldn't have this issue of like misinformation. People wouldn't have to be like, oh, this totally happens, and then when they actually watch it and they're expecting something, hey, it's completely different because you actually can, you know what you're seeing, reading, watching.
Yep.
Sorry. But yeah.
So that's the aspect when it comes to that. And just real quickly, ending the poll here, it looks like the majority of folks prefer a sub release when it comes to Toku in the West versus anything else. Next up was actually dub at 13%, and don't do it at 6%. Damn, we got some purists out there that's just like, nah.
We don't want an adaptation. I would agree.
0% adaptation.
Wow.
No one wants an adaptation. Wow.
I'm not surprised.
What if?
Mm.
No, not an No, that's a whole nother. This episode's been really long. I don't want to go on another soapbox tangent.
Hey, listen, it's an idea for another day, Mark.
I'm just gonna say
Yeah.
the sub versus dub debate. I hate that debate so much.
You can watch
throw it out
both.
there.
Just
Yeah.
watch back.
It's like the girl with the salsa commercial. It's like, do you want this or this? And she's like, why not both? And then they all lift her up. And
Like
everyone's,
dubs
like,
is great
cheering.
for like if you want to listen to something in the background and catch up with the show. You're not
Exactly.
actually watching.
I do that with
Yeah.
anime all the time. I'll switch
Yeah.
between subbed and dubbed
Yeah.
depending on.
And if I'm focusing on a show, I'd rather watch it sub because I focus on the show. You know what I mean?
The thing is, I've gotten so used to looking at subs that even when I watch stuff in English, I still have the closed caption on.
Same.
Like that's become a
Yeah.
regular for me to the point that I got to get someone to look at my OLED because it's got burn in for all the subtitles that's ever played on my TV upstairs. It's bad. It's bad. But yeah, that pretty much is not really a debate. Of course, we all want to see these shows over in the West. It's just the form in which they bring them in that really kind of drives things home. And I feel like with Hasbro trying to skew further and further away from Sentai, maybe once they actually do skew further away, then maybe the Sentai IP will become free game once again to actually try and get another shot in the West, maybe as another sort of property. And then we can get those shows that never got adapted.
Maybe we'll get the English version of Don Bros that you.
I'll
Clearly
put
want.
all my money into it just so I got own the IP and sit on it and let no one have it.
You're just gonna be like, it's mine and mine
I'll be a
alone.
super villain in my ivory tower, just holding on the like IP reels of freaking Don Brothers. Like, oh, you guys want this in English subbed on Blu-ray? No.
I mean, and I can't see a Don Brothers adaptation because whoever they cast as the Sononi replacement will never be the Sononi replacement for me. Never.
What if they recast her?
Even if they cast me as either Taro or Tsubasa's replacement, I would be like, no, you're just a cheap imitation of the real Sononi.
Even if they brought the actual Japanese actress back.
Oh, that would be a different story. Hold on now. Hold on now. Let's not like, burn this bridge while we still have it. Like, it's still there. It's still there.
All right.
The King Odra adaptation will lead to the Saber adaptation. Just
Probably.
real quick. Like, just because they said, how about King Odra adaptation? Yeah. I feel like King Odra segues into Saber. It'd be like you start off with the King Odra suits and they evolve gradually into the Saber suits.
I feel like with the way Saber also goes, like narratively, it would be a good way to ease people into the writer idea because you go from like a team essentially to like a team's fracturing and splitting off into their own kind of thing. Much like
it makes sense with the King aspect. It would actually. Like, I stand for my own nation. So now that we've beat this evil, I'm going back to like just caring about my own nation. Bye. It would work. It could work.
Peace.
Yep. All right. So on that note, this is actually the longest stream that we've had at 3 hours and 14
shortest.
Yes, we thought it would be the shortest, but damn. So you know what? We're gonna try and cut it at that. But last off, any last minute words for anyone, Ash?
No, I got nothing.
Anything you want to plug? Any of your videos that just recently came out that you want to like bring people out to?
It's mostly news videos, but if you want to check him out. Some interesting stuff going on for Cosmic Fury. We've got possibly an Orange Ranger showing up in Cosmic Fury. So they're going to make that Q Ranger mech work. We've got Heckle coming back from Dino Charge. And then we've also got Campbell Cooley, who will be sort of becoming like the comedic side character from what I've heard. So that's interesting.
All right.
Check him out.
And Mark, what do you got to plug?
My YouTube channel. I haven't really put anything up since like my Geats review because I've just been really busy with work this week. In Cocaine Bear.
Oh.
I
Nice.
will be doing a video though as a non-Sentai guy who binge watching Don Brothers. I want to do a video on it, but I also want to kind of like finally sit down and really fully explain why I binge watch and I don't watch week to week, because a lot of people take it as me hating on the season when I only make it a few episodes in, then I stop. And I'm like, it's not about hating the show. It's just I enjoy Super Sentai binging it. This is how I've been enjoying Lupat and all these other ones, because the only one I ever tried to watch outside of Power Rangers really week to week is, I mean, Zenkaiser, yes, but like I really tried with Rio Soldier. I tried and I went back and I binged it and I enjoyed it more. Doesn't mean it was great, but I kind of want to explain as like a non-Sentai guy, like how that process works for me, because a lot of people just who are Sentai fans and purists see it as me hating on these franchises, and that's not the case.
No, part of it is the conversation, and I guess we'll get into that topic when we get to it next week. So, all right, Cloudy, anything you want to plug?
I really do want to plug one video Deoxy put up relatively recently on like Zato's role in the new Cosmic Fury team. If you really are interested in that, like that was a very good video. I highly recommend anyone to watch that. Obviously, go watch Mark and Zio; they're great. Love them guys. And after this stream, I will be immediately watching the first season of Digimon for no particular reason whatsoever.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Just start with the first
Last Evolution
portion movie, like, and then watch the series.
I've actually seen that movie. I've just never seen the series.
Well, watch the series and then watch 02. Don't watch Try. Just watch a quick like history of Digimon Try. I bet someone's got like the cliff notes on it, and then go to Last Evolution Kizuna, and then come to me after you need some comforting and like you're weeping and you're like, oh my god, why did I build these relationships? And then I'll just be like, look, my one, I started this full, like I'm near the end already, like from this stream. So let me give you some droplets by the time I get through with this, and then you'll be all right. Why
is everyone telling me get ready to cry? What?
Oh, Last Evolution Kizuna, you're gonna be a wreck.
Oh my god,
you're gonna be a wreck watching that.
I still haven't recovered from it, so
Jesus Christ.
And that was, and I saw it when it came out. I picked it up on Blu-ray. It's
No. When Mark told me about it, because I was completely out of it when it came to Try, I was like, okay, I'll watch it. And then when I watched it and I got to the end, I was like, oh my god, no.
I try to warn people.
Damn, broke Zio and Mark. I'm gonna be ruined.
I had the emotional investment. Like I was in. I was in. Like
I was a kid when this came out. Like the original Digimon. Like so. Yeah.
Like I got another high bar to measure Pokemon on, because right now, if this current Ash arc that they're doing for like his goodbyes,
I haven't started watching it.
I started watching it. It's a great celebration of it. Plus the intro is fire because it's like the original Pokemon intro, well, the Japanese Pocket Monsters intro with like some slight remixes. But if they don't stick that landing, then I'm just gonna be like, Digimon did it better again when it came to anime, which is why like Digimon is like peak anime and Pokemon is only good when it comes to games.
That is true,
because the anime is like whatever, but that's a fight for another day.
Yeah,
some of those Digimon games are insanely good.
So on that note, next week we are having the Dombros Celebration Festival to celebrate the entire series run for Dombros. That is all we're going to get when it comes to TokuTonic, when it comes to next week, is just celebrating all that. Cloudy might be off of the warmer seat because I've already contacted someone well ahead of even making this podcast in terms of trying to be on here. And they currently gave me the go-ahead, so we might have a new face up on a panel list next week when it comes to Dombros. But we're going to be talking everything and anything when it comes to Dombros next week. So if you're in it for the bros, then you're in it for the hoes. On that note, we are we are out of here, and I will catch you all next week. Everybody else, go ahead and say bye.
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 Bye.